Bang! Neevesknives. I'm Jared. And we are live, ladies and gentlemen, live on Neevesknives with Kenny from In the Pocket. Kenny, what's going on, bud?
How's it going, buddy? Hey to everybody out there in the knife
Yeah.
world.
So those of you that don't know who Kenny in the Pocket is, you should, but I know there's a lot of newcomers that have recently joined in the past year. Kenny he had a channel before I ever started. He was a huge influence into me starting a channel. Amazing content. I highly recommend you go back through his catalog and watch his videos. He has so much knowledge. It's insane. And he's one of the people that actually got me into the details, like the heavy details of just about everything. And I think you'll be pretty amazed if you go through his catalog of all the great information he has. And we're hoping for a comeback, Kenny. What do you think? You think that'll happen or
I
no?
well, I really appreciate that, man. I mean, honestly, I never expected anyone to like any of my stuff. When I first made a video, it was more just because I liked the knife I had gotten, and I was like, I want to talk about it,
Yeah, right.
and that's where it all started. And honestly, I didn't expect anyone to want to hear anything I had to say. I want to say hi to everybody out there,
Yeah, yeah.
and I
We got a lot of people in here.
want to thank you for time now. I'm just small in this pond at this point. But I contemplate making videos again, like every day, pretty much. It's definitely something that it pulls me, and I want to. But at the same time, I'm in a weird spot in my life, and I got a lot of stuff to figure out, and this is definitely something that is part of me at this point, and I do want to get back to it. I do want to make videos again. I have a ton of knives that I want to talk about. Um, I sometimes there were so many different types of projects I wanted to get into, like regrinds, and I literally have my cart of scales sitting in my garage that I made
What
that I
kind?
never finished.
What kind
They're
did you make?
denim
Nice,
micarta, and
nice.
I actually made them for a Mannix. I have the templates made and everything. So I was gonna make them for just a standard Mannix. The the standard Mannix, not the lightweight. Obviously, that would have been
What did your
really
process
tricky.
look Sorry, not to interrupt you, but what'd your
Oh
process
no,
look
no.
like? What'd your process look like on making them?
So I'm kind of like I'm a bit of a caveman in a sense. Like I don't have
We
the
all are.
presses and all these. Yeah, right. Uh, I don't have the presses and all that. Like to actually make micarta or to make something like G10, they actually use vacuum bags. I'm sure in a lot of situations,
They
and
do.
they're pulling the resin through the material. Where what I was actually doing was more just pressing. So I
Pressure, yeah.
would lay out the material and then use like a non-stick surface and then pressing the material to get that squeezed and compression effect. Then what I would do, this is all stuff I learned out of just being a carpenter on boats and having to make templates a lot. So
Mhm.
I would make a template of this scale. This
Okay.
is obviously a hinder. I would take this scale, make a template out of some type of wood or certain material, and then use that template in order to actually cut the scale to the actual perfect size, which I would use a router for, like a router
Right.
table, in order to cut the scale to the actual precise measurements of the other scale of the scale. I could also use this scale as my template, but
Yeah.
I was always afraid I would damage the scale. So I
Yeah.
would make a template out of it and then use that template to cut the scale. And what that would end up doing is I would also be able to make another scale, and I could then make a bunch of them if I saw fit in the future.
That's true, right? Because 'cause you'd
Um,
already have a template ready.
Exactly. And
Whoa! Hold on 1 second, Kenny.
what's up?
We got a $50 donation. 50, boom!
What?
Can't
Wow,
stay
that's
on,
big
but had
time.
to drop in. Keep up the knife world. Thank you, Steve, dude. That's fucking awesome,
Wow,
man. Thank you so much for the
that is
donation.
amazing.
Starting it off really good, man. Thank you so much. I do appreciate it, man. Sorry, Kenny, go ahead. We're gonna leave that up for a minute.
Um, yeah. So I would just then have that, and then even if I got a knife from somebody that they wanted me to do something for them, I could then keep that template, and then in the future, if I wanted to make that scale again, I could. So that was the idea behind it. The problem is, and I think we spoke about this before, is that when you're when you have a job, when you have a full-time job, this kind of stuff, it's hard to keep up with,
Absolutely.
I don't think people realize the amount of time that we put into these videos, just even the editing
I know.
alone.
Right. Right.
On a half an hour video, you could spend 2 hours plus editing that
Yeah, if
video,
not way longer.
if not way more. So
Yeah.
uh, it, I don't think people realize how much of your life that consumes. And then when you're doing that and you're working full time, it makes it very difficult to keep up with. And then you're trying to answer all your questions, you're trying to answer everything within a reasonable amount of time, and it's hard. Making my scales. Yeah, you can use the original scale. There's no problem with that, and you can always buy the materials. I chose to make my own micarta. I even made. I think I tried to make some G10 at one point, which is essentially just micarta with fiberglass instead of micarta is just material like fabrics instead of
Fabric, yeah.
using fiberglass. Yeah,
Hawaii Knife and Gear made some coconut micarta because he's in Hawaii. So he took
yeah,
coconut like debris, and I thought it looked cool as shit. It looked really cool.
yeah. That's cool. Yeah,
But
they're actually using coconut fibers in a lot of things at this point. As you know, I used as you know, I used to work at a surf shop. I mean, I've surfed for a long time in my life, pretty much my
it's
whole life.
awesome.
But
That's awesome.
they use coconut as like the top layer on some surfboards now. They're using coconut to strengthen it, so it's kind of
No
interesting.
shit. Really?
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
interesting.
I don't think it's like a common occurrence, but I know that NSP, which is kind of a I don't know, it's like your Kershaw of surfboards a little bit, but
I- I'm
yeah, he's
definitely
about to
coming
pass
for Metal
Metal Complex pretty.
Complex. I'm on his tail. On his tail. Soon
that's
to be.
that's wild.
I guarantee he's
I'm
gonna try to
super.
put out a heater in the next couple days. It ain't gonna work though. It ain't gonna work.
Man, I'm
Shabazz, you're
extremely
next.
impressed by all of that.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. Thank you. It's been a lot of work and a lot of
Yeah,
fun.
but oh
Lindy
yeah,
Lou.
this is not like. Hey, Lindy, what's up,
Shout out to
girl?
Knife Modders. Go and follow the channel. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, it's one of those things where again, all that work that goes into the channel, all that work that you put into it, that's not, that just doesn't come to you, man. That's a lot of work, a lot of time, it's a lot of dedication.
Yeah.
I don't think people really can grasp it until they actually try to make videos for themselves and see what it entails.
Yeah, I had to I actually talked about it last week or a few days ago that I recently quit my job because the past few months I held on to the job and it started not making sense with the sharpening service that I'm running, and it was starting to affect because I've this whole time my whole plan was to do this full time. I wanted to. So it's not like I made a dumb decision on like just jumping into it. I made sure it made sense. I made sure I was losing money before I ever did it. So and at this point, like if I'm gonna fucking do it, I do it, right? Don't mess
Yeah, yeah,
around. So and it just inspires me more to be that much more efficient and that much more productive and everything. So, but yeah, it's been a journey for sure and a hell of a lot of work. But I do love it
yeah,
though.
yeah.
So you got to keep the
Um,
passion. You got to.
Yeah, and you got to keep yourself. One of the hard parts, especially for me, because I am such a versatile type person.
Mm.
I I have a lot. I have a lot of different passions, a lot of different hobbies. So what's up? How's it going?
Same here,
So
man.
what? Yeah. So when you do have the different passions, you get inspired by something else, and then you're like, oh, how do I hold on to that inspiration on this other thing? It's really hard.
Yeah. Yes.
For me, I'm always going to be a knife guy, right? I carried this today. Um, I will always be a knife guy. Always have been since I was a little kid.
Right.
Since
Right.
my dad had. Um, oh, sorry, I'm reading this comment. Yeah, if you love your job, you're not really working. But it's it's also hard because what happens when you make what you love your job, sometimes the it's hard to keep loving it, because you start to get burnt out,
You do, you do,
So
and
that's
you have to know when to hold back a little bit. You know, you do got to know when to take a
yeah,
break. You got to know when to give yourself a stress reliever. Like
yeah.
the other last week, that video was pushing millions and millions of views, and there were so many comments, and I was trying to keep up. There was no way, no fucking way. And I actually had to only put out one vid. I normally put out 2 videos a day plus shorts. And I actually only was putting out 1 video a
Right.
day because I had to take a break. I had to. I had busted my ass for so
Yeah.
many weeks in a row that it was just like I got to take a break. So, but I did, and I'm always staying on the grind, and that's what's important. Excuse me.
Yeah.
Me being a knife guy doesn't make sense. Nobody in my family carried knives. It came out of nowhere. Everybody's a knife guy. Nobody's not a knife guy. Everybody.
I feel like if you're a boy, you're a knife guy. I'm like,
But even girls,
there's
so
none
even
like,
girls, they realize it after a minute. Once you kind of show them. I mean,
you know,
in reality, we all use knives. It's just whether or not you carry a
well,
pocket knife.
yeah, the way you whether you carry a pocket knife or not. The thing that's crazy that, and I think our society does kind of it it draws me from that idea of like, oh, you got to carry a knife because everything's like easy open package and everything. But I mean, you talking 20 years ago, like where everything wasn't easy open. If you didn't have a knife on you, you couldn't get into something. You know what I'm saying? And I think that the current situation has made people think like, why would you ever need a knife? In fact, I went to my sister's last week, right, or the week before to visit, and all I took was my Spyderco chaparral, right, my lightweight chaparral, and it's the only knife I took because it was the only one I could say, okay, for one, it's small enough that I could take it in any situation. For
Uh-huh.
two, if something happened in the airport and it got, whatever, my baggage got lost, I'd be like, okay, I lost my chaparral, like
Pocket.
I can,
Pocket.
it's
Yeah.
not that big of a deal. Right.
Right. Right.
It's also
Right.
not a $600 knife. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Right.
So so I thought, okay, this is a good knife, and you could pretty much do anything with that knife. I mean, obviously, you're not going to be chopping down a tree with it or anything like that, but it's a good all-around EDC knife, right?
Yeah. Fuck yeah.
Uh, I mean, and even if you're at a kid's birthday party, you could pull that thing out, and no one would be like, "What are you doing?"
Right.
Uh,
Right.
you couldn't necessarily pull out a police four at a kid's birthday
I
party,
wish you could though,
to before.
I wish you could.
Yeah,
I
me
wish
too,
everybody
me
like
too.
when I was a kid, man, it was so normal. Like that to me was nothing. Like I was so
Yeah.
desensitized, growing up. But I know that's not everybody, right? That's not everybody. But my dad fucking had a
Well, yeah,
machete sticking in the fucking ceiling of our living room. Like
bro.
so
A machete was like in my dad's. I've had a machete in my hands since I was a little kid.
right.
I grew up with a Jamaican dad, so I had machetes
Yeah,
like around me all the time, right?
I bet.
I
I
nearly
bet.
cut off my toe. I would nearly cut off my toe when I was 10 years old with a machete, sticking it in the ground. So yeah,
The worst place to put it.
I've had a yeah, right, just like doing these into the ground, you
Yep.
know,
Yep.
just
Mhm.
almost chopped my big toe off. But yeah, so knives were around me from a young age, and obviously women use knives every day in the kitchen, or men, whichever, you know. But I think, yeah, I think you're right. I think everybody's a knife person. It's just a matter of whether you carry a knife
Realize
or
it
not.
and
I
realize it.
think that, yeah, and realize it. And I think that more people would carry knives. Oh, there's another one. Um,
Yep.
I think more people would
Chuck
carry
it.
knives if they
Thank
actually
you for
did
the
it.
20 bones. Chuck it. Me and him met up the other day,
Yeah,
went
thanks.
had
Thanks, bud.
lunch. Yeah, I'll get you back, fucker.
Oh,
Thank you for the
nice.
donation. 20 bones. Thank you, man. I do appreciate it. Bought fucking lunch
Yeah,
after all. Smart ass.
that's like 2
Oh, we got
beers
a new member, James. Part of
nowadays.
the Bang Gang membership. So we're doing a live tomorrow. So for all the Bang Gang members, tomorrow we have a live sharpening. Don't forget Sunday's live sharpenings. Sorry, go ahead.
Nice. Yeah. So what I was saying was, for instance, my ex girlfriend at the moment, she's my my girlfriend after my marriage essentially, and she would never have thought to carry a knife. Like she just never had one on her. She never would think to carry one. So what I said, because one day she was like, I forget the reason I even brought it up. Like, hey, what if I gave you a knife? Would you carry it? And she said, yeah, I think so. I just keep it in my purse.
All
So
right. You
I
got to
went
get them to
ahead
use
and
it.
get.
If they carry it and
What's that?
start using if I said if you can get them to carry it
That's
and they
it.
actually use it over a couple weeks, they will see how useful it is. Like my wife, she probably never carried a pocket knife before, but once she started, now like every
Right.
morning when she's going to work, "Where's my knife?" She has to have it,
Right. Right.
because she realizes how
So
detrimental it is not to have. Oh,
yeah.
Calica,
So,
thank you for the 2 bones. Jared, we need to meet up sometime. Yeah, absolutely. Let me know. I'm always down.
nice.
My dad had
So
guns,
so
knives, power tools, and muscle cars. That's what I knew in my life. Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
yeah,
That's what's up.
that's a good way to live right there.
Damn right it is. Can't complain about that.
So yeah, not never. So I gave her a Spyderco Dragonfly too.
Perfect.
And because I thought, hey, this is small enough, she won't feel like it's too big. She could operate it with one hand. I taught her how to use the back lock. She figured it out fairly quickly. And next thing I knew, I think it was like a few weeks later, and I asked her like, "Hey, have you used your knife?" And dude, she was like, "Not only do I use it, but now I'm the person in the office that everyone asks when they need a knife. They know I have this knife,
Yep.
and she
Same with my
uses it
wife.
every day, dude."
Yep. Oh man, my wife comes home with the edge fucking destroyed. It looks like she just dragged it
Dude, they
across
do not know what
concrete
they're
or
doing.
something. I'm like, what
Is
what did you
are
cut?
wait, is James asking me
Yes,
or is
you. That's for you.
me? Okay. So my favorite fixed blade at this point, and there's no contest, guys. And if you know anything about this, you'll probably know why there's no contest. It's this little guy.
Oh
This
yeah.
is my K Knives Switzerland Vaincron Shard, and I mean this thing is, dude. I don't think there's no way I'm gonna be able to show you guys how thin and
I can tell.
destructive
It's
this thing
thin.
is.
Yeah,
Yeah, you wouldn't want to make this knife this thin for just anyone. You know what I'm saying?
for sure.
It is a beast. There's nothing this knife can't do. And it did. I did a cut test with it. I have a video. I planned on doing it. This was probably a year or two ago. I don't even remember when I did that test. But it cut like I want to say close to 700 feet before it
Damn,
stopped cutting paper.
damn. That's awesome.
Yeah,
See, but
and then
that's
it's
a
dropped
quality heat
back.
treat, though. That's a good heat treat,
Oh
though,
yeah.
you know?
Oh yeah, no doubt. And it's dropped back in like 4 passes. It was insane. I'm so blown away by it. But right there with it, which is another really great knife, and you will know this,
BGM, yeah.
BGM.
Yeah.
Yeah, he makes a really nice fixed blade, guys,
You can always
and
tell a
a lot
BGM.
more. Oh yeah, they do have a very distinct look.
Yeah.
And I would suggest either one of those guys. If you're not looking
Yeah.
to spend a whole lot and looking to mess around with a lot of different steels, BGM does a great job.
Yeah.
I'm very happy with this knife. And I wouldn't
Custom
say
heat treat.
it's yeah, awesome heat treat. He does a great job. The
Yep.
grinds are, you know, really, really nice. That
Yep.
hollow grind he does is really nice.
I know. The regrinds he does too. He does amazing regrinds.
Oh, really? I haven't
Cheap
witnessed
too.
that yet.
Anybody who has
that.
anybody who has a knife, you know, like, you know, the Spartan Harseys, whatever. I'm just naming a knife that you think the geometry is just a little too thick on. He'll put a nice choil in there for you, put a nice hollow grind or flat grind. Some knives he can't do the hollow, but a lot of them he can. So it just kind of depends. But either way, you can get a new regrind. It's very affordable. He does it within a week, maybe 2 weeks max, but usually within a week. Badass. Shout out to Tri-State
that's
30 subs from 2K. Go and follow his channel. Get him over 2K. Awesome, dude. And Blades and EDC.
Right on, buddy.
I don't know exactly. I'm just gonna be everywhere, man. I'm gonna try to get a media pass, so I'll just be everywhere in Atlanta. Are you going to Atlanta? The Blade Show?
Oh, for Blade Show?
Yeah,
dude, I haven't contemplated it. Again,
good.
Part of the reason I haven't been able to focus on this is the idea that, or the facts that, not only am I going through a breakup and like dealing with, you know, another breakup after I just went through a marriage that failed, you know what I'm saying?
That's tough. Yeah,
but I also have the owner of my apartment complex where I live, where I've made all these videos, died in November, and
oh man, sorry to hear
his kids are now going to sell the place. So I might be homeless in a certain amount of time here.
Do you have any plans yet, like locations, or like would you stick around that area, or would you like relocate?
That's
good opportunity to relocate.
Yeah, it is a very, very good opportunity. The only problem I have at this point is direction. I would love to get out of California, as everyone likes to call it.
I want to go to Florida, so that's my plan. Let me hit this donation real quick. Denise, thank you for the 2 crackers, brother. Thank you so much, man.
Right on, guys.
I appreciate all the donations, guys. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much. And thank you for all the shout outs.
That's great.
This channel is flying. I'm so excited about it. Mostly excited about, oh, there he is right there. BGM. What's up, brother?
Thank you, Urban.
We have BGM now. Hey, he's been here for a minute.
Hey,
damn
I'm sorry I haven't
been here. Shout out to BGM Knives. Definitely go follow him on Instagram.
Sorry, I have not made a video on your knife.
We got another new member.
Yeah.
Thank you, Daniel. Tomorrow, don't forget the live. Shout out to the Bang Gang Squad. Go ahead. I think there's a tiny bit of a delay. So, but we'll burn through it. No worries.
Yeah, I'm noticing the delay as well.
Yeah, it's all good.
So, so I think for me, like for instance, where are you at? You're in Nevada?
No, I'm in Chicago, man.
You're in Chicago.
I want to go to Florida though. I'm right outside of Chicago, but my plan is to head to Florida. That's my plan.
Okay. So I lived in Florida for 10 years. So I can, if you need to talk to someone about Florida, I can give you some advice.
I've been to Florida a bunch of times. I have family there. I have more family moving there as we speak. So it's kind of a good location where I'll still be with family and everything. So, and I love Florida. So who can't? I mean, Florida's fucking awesome.
That's what matters, Yeah. I'm sorry.
No, I've always been like here, man. I have so much family. That's the one thing. So much family. So I hate moving away from the family, but Florida, I'm actually moving like near family. So the same family too.
Well, that's great. I see Stas. I think Nick entered the room, so I have to acknowledge that.
Yoda's
What's up,
telling me to
Nick?
drop
What's
you
up,
really
Stassa?
quick. Yoda told me to just drop you really quick. It'll only take 2 seconds. I'm gonna drop you and bring you right back. Take
Okay.
2 seconds, but just
Yeah,
don't
do
do
it.
anything.
Do what we got.
Let's try this, guys. We're gonna try this. There's a little tiny bit of a delay. We have something we're about to pull up in 2 seconds that me and Kenny are gonna check out together. I showed you guys last week. I think it'll be fascinating for him to check out as well. Did that fix it? No, not really.
I'm back. Yeah,
There we go.
I
There we
see
go.
Ken is talking about how expensive. Yeah, I see Ken's talking about how expensive it is to live here, and right now it's out of control, dude. Like, to keep living where I'm at, I would have to make so much money. It's like I don't even want to live here anymore. Like
I can
I mean, I
imagine.
live in an amazing place. I'm so lucky to have lived here for as long as I have. I feel, I feel grateful for living, and I'm California up here, so it's part of me. I love California, but
Mhm.
man,
You hate it
the
at the same time.
politics and the
Yeah.
yeah, I hate it at the same time. Exactly, exactly.
Yeah, same with here.
I
Same with here.
Yeah, it is part of me. It's part of who I am. I am a California boy, for sure. But at the same time, yeah, it just doesn't fit my. Oh, you live in Monterey, Lindy? I didn't know that.
Yeah, she's
And it's probably
not
just as
far from me.
it's probably horrible up there right now. I can't imagine. As far as even, I mean, like I said, the politics, the price of living out here is it's hard. And I mean, my job I could take anywhere. I'm a carpenter, so I could pretty much go anywhere with that. And I have a lot of different skills that I could all fall back on. So, I don't know. I think about leaving, but I don't know where to go. I'm like, where am I going to go? Montana, you know. And to go to my family, I'd have to go to like either Maryland is where my sister is. My mom is in Florida still, so I'm not really too keen on going back to Florida because I left. I didn't really love Florida living there
Yeah, but
personally, but
I wouldn't take it like just because you had an experience that back then, that doesn't mean you can't restart. It is what you make it to some extent, right? To some extent, it is what you make it.
for sure,
And I think
yeah,
if you're trying to separate yourself from certain types of things like that, then that's probably the best bet. Texas, Florida, Georgia, places like that. So I mean,
yeah.
I think, if you have the opportunity and the way a good way to set up there, I don't think it's, I think it can only be a good thing. Fixed blades, I love fixed blades, but I don't get a chance to use them like I want to. I do have a few in or a couple in for review, but I love the BGM knives. Essie, I think Essie does a pretty good job. I really like the way they look, but yeah, I just don't get to use them like I want to. Let's check out this carbide picture really quick. So we're gonna talk what fucking Steve.
It's good timing because Steve's in here.
Yeah, yeah.
I had to acknowledge the fact that
Hey,
it's Steve has in here to suck his ball. So
yeah, yeah. He had to leave that in there. Maybe I should
I'm
pull
sorry,
each
lick
one of
his
them up.
balls.
Yeah, yeah. Maybe I should. It'd been funny if we'd have spelt it out the whole time.
He's been spelling out for the last like 2 minutes. So
Right. Um, so I got this little sheet and we'll get through it pretty quick. I got it right here in the background, so I'm gonna pull it forward. So what this is, and like I said, I found this. Shout out to Tom Hosang Outdoors. He's the one he did a video on it, and he's the one who brought it to my attention. Now, what it is there was the theory about, and we all thought it was true, I did too, about the carbide tear out, which this kind of shows that carbide tear out really doesn't happen. What actually happens, like if you're sharpening with aluminum oxide stones, is that the carbides get the steel torn from around them. So the carbides stay in place. And what we're looking at right now, that is an edge that was sharpened with basically aluminum oxide. And all those little bumps, that is the carbides. We're going to get a closer picture here in a second. That's the carbides with the steel torn from around them. So it actually shows, one, how strong carbides stay in steel, but there is a downfall. So you see the carbides, Kenny? You see how you can see them actually above the surface, and then
That's insane.
yeah, and then the steel is torn from around them, and now they're exposed at the surface. Well, once the steel gets completely removed from them, they get exposed, then they get hit and shattered. Specifically with aluminum oxide stones. Now, if you look at this picture, you can actually see the carbides in the steel, and then you can see it poking up at the
Wow.
surface. And it's crazy because, I think we all thought that carbides were maybe a little bit more fragile than they were. Not saying fragile, but were able to be torn from the steel easier than we thought. But that's actually just not
Yeah,
true.
yeah.
It actually stays in the steel. But when it starts getting exposed and then gets hit by the stone, like an aluminum oxide, it winds up shattering. Now, here's a close up of a burr. And you can actually see the cracking in the carbides down here near the edge where the burr is. But now I'm going to show you a picture of one
Mhm.
done by diamonds where you actually can see that the carbide is actually cut. I see Steve threw out a donation. I'll get to it in 1 second, Steve. You can see the cracking of the carbides. Now this is probably from fatigue. Yeah, I see that. Now right here you can see this one, I believe, was done by another interesting observation is that the carbide near the surface appears to be pulverized and partially smeared out in the direction of sharpening, while carbides 1 micron below the surface are intact. So if you look, basically like these top ones, you can see how they're shattered. And then
Yeah.
this one looks a little bit more intact, but we're gonna scroll down a little bit. Now this one, you can see how the carbide is actually cut now. It's not at the surface. It's not raised above the surface. The stone was able to actually cut
Wow.
the carbide. So now you do see the
Wow, look
cracked
at that.
ones.
All the way in there.
Yep. You can see where they are cracked inside, but you can see the carbide below the surface, but it's not above the surface like the other stones where it's actually shaved the carbide, which is it's pretty awesome to see this on a microscopic level. Now here we can see where the apex is made and we have the burr. You can see the burr folded over, but you see the
Right.
carbides again,
On that
they're
side.
not they're not cracked and they're not raised above the surface. You see how you can see the carbides on the surface, but they're not above the surface. So the stone was
Yeah.
able to cut the steel, cut the carbides, and create a good burr without cracking, without it being left there, because because the aluminum oxide stones are just
Yeah.
not capable of doing it. And I think if I read correctly, I forget, but I think it was an Arkansas stone they were using. So maybe not aluminum oxide, so
Okay.
natural stone. I think one was in Arkansas. I think it says here in one of the things. Okay, so again, here you see the carbide. You can see how it's cut. That's good. That's what you want.
Yeah.
That's what you want. You want the carbides to be cut. You don't want them sitting at the surface just waiting to crack and crumble.
Yeah.
Again here. Now I
Well, I
really don't
wonder
understand.
I
Sorry, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I wonder like what something like a Belgian codicule or something like that would do. I would be interested to see because there are
Yeah.
some natural stones that might be able to handle, um, you know, not leaving those carbides so exposed.
Very possible. And then look also, and I don't know either, right? I'm curious, like, what about like if you had like a hyper aggressive aluminum oxide stone to start off with, would that have any effect if you did a certain type of progression, or is it just like it's
Right.
just not hard enough to cut the carbides? I mean, I'm guessing that there would be some variables depending on what type of stones you're using versus like an India, another type of aluminum oxide, natural stones, the Arkansas. Um, I have to read into the details, but I only remember reading, I think one was definitely an Arkansas, and then I'm not sure the other stones they were using.
Hmm.
We'd have to read these. But I know what I'm saying basically
Yeah,
is
read
the
into the
gist of it.
article.
Yeah, definitely go and read the whole article, guys. This is, you can see carbides in K390. You can see it up. Or no,
I'm
you guys can't see that. Carbides in
I'm having a
K390.
bit.
Just look
I'm
that up.
having a pretty. Is
Uh-oh.
that on Hosing's site, or where is this?
No, so he did a video on it. This you can just Google this. This is carbides in K390. It's science of something. I can't see the whole thing, but it's science of something, the actual site, but it's basically carbides in K390. If you Google that, you will find it. But if you go on
Okay.
Tom Hosang Outdoors channel, he did a complete video breaking down this entire thing, and it's a really good video. I
Oh,
advocate
okay.
go check that out. It's awesome, awesome content. Close up of the K390
Excellent.
Andela sharpening on the Sigma Power 2 240 shows partially abraded carbides at the surface with severe cracking. So you can see that these ones are cut,
That's
but
crazy.
they're cracked, So what happened was they got exposed at the surface, and then they got hit and cracked. And it's weird how this one down here is cracked as well. That
Yeah,
probably
like
was just,
inside.
yeah. I'm though it probably was just that way already. You know what I mean?
I would think that was from the heat treat. I would think that was from
Yeah,
the heat
yeah,
treat.
yeah,
Anything
yeah.
inside the steel like that, like even, that's from the heat treat process from, you know, that could be at any time from the quenching or, you know, I mean that could be from any point in the process.
So
I
now
wouldn't think
here,
that would have any effect from the stone.
yeah, I don't think so either. I don't think so either. But this one here we're about to look at is from a translucent Arkansas stone. Now look at this shit, Kenny. This is crazy. Look at this. This is all carbides at the surface. Look at that. That's fucking nuts.
Oh my gosh.
It's just
Wow.
it's crazy. So, and then eventually what's going to happen? They're going to shatter. And now that's where you might think that you have microchipping, maybe. I mean, it's hard to say how it feels when you run your nail across
Oh,
it.
I No, I'm pretty sure that would feel like almost like a microceration. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Um, and then you would probably get a carbide tear out from them being so exposed.
Yeah,
If they
it's
hit something
possible.
harder, they're
Yep.
gonna tear out. They're gonna tear
True.
out because they're just not embedded in the steel as solidly.
Right. They're
So
sitting on the surface. Now, even
the
though, I mean, it seems like they hang in
right,
really tough, but when they're that exposed, I mean, I mean,
yeah,
what are you going to do? Of course, something's going to happen. Damn, look at this. You can see just all the carbides
yeah,
just sitting there, and that's crazy. But it's just the Arkansas
that
stone
is
is
wild.
just not hard enough to cut the carbides. So what it does is it's hard enough to cut the steel around the carbides, but not the carbide itself. And you can see him
I
here.
do
Just
have to interrupt you.
no, go ahead.
I do have to interrupt you, Jared, because I think we had a very serious donation from a very serious dude.
All right.
You might need to ding ding for.
I see this one. Steve was right about carbide tear out. Thank you, Steve. Thank you for the donation. Thank you for the 2 bones. I appreciate it. And we got another one from Steve. Say that again. Carbide tear out. What? Who would have known?
I think
Thank
that
you,
was, yeah.
Steve.
There were 2.
Yeah, I got bone.
Sorry to interrupt.
Scott's in the house. Shout out to Big Board Knife and Gear. Go and follow his channel as well. Scott is such an awesome dude. Go and follow his channel. Bree says, I get confused. Jared says use 600 grit, so I get a 600 grit stone for the bench grinder. I just still messed up. I can't seem to figure this
Dude,
out.
big bore.
Put that fucker on the bench grinder. Is Lefty in here?
Jesus, man.
I didn't see Lefty. Is he in here too?
Dude, I haven't seen Scott in a while. What's up, big boy?
Carbides are harder than aluminum
Uh,
oxide, so it makes sense that it wouldn't abrade carbides as well. Right, I agree, but I think there was a lot of debate about it and a lot of arguments about it. So it's nice to actually see a microscopic view on it, so that we can actually see what's happening. Because it technically, I mean, you can look at it as carbide tear out, but technically, I guess it would be the steel's being removed from around the carbides, and the carbides are shattering, equaling, I guess, in carbide tear out technically, but they're shattering and then falling out.
it's carbide. It's carbide exposure,
Right, right.
not carbide
Lefty
tear out.
EDC. Shout out to Lefty EDC. Go and follow his channel as well. I'm checking out his piece of shit design right now. Shout out to Lefty EDC. Go and follow his channel. Who are these assholes? What's up, Shane? Shout out to Shane Gables. Also, go follow his channel. So let me pull this down.
Hold on, Jared. I'm getting
Yeah,
a lot of I'm having a lot of jumping in your vocal, like your video for
okay,
me. Like,
okay.
yeah, we might need to do that again, or
Let me try removing myself really.
maybe if
Did that help?
my phone.
You know, I mean, if it's really bad, I can like I said, I can pull us out and just come right back in.
No, I think I actually just fixed it right now because I
Awesome.
turned my phone off. I turned my phone off, and it's
Oh,
helping a lot. So I can.
okay.
It's a lot smoother.
Nice, nice. Awesome,
So I
awesome.
won't be able
But
to see the comments, guys. I apologize.
I'll pull them up. I'll pull them up. You
Okay.
can see them if I pull them up, right? If I go like this.
Yeah, I can see him up there. Yeah, I just won't be able to keep up with all the comments as we go.
Okay. Yeah, I'll just pull them up.
Not that I was.
um, but no, I think it is fascinating to see these things on a microscopic level. I actually just got this magnifying glass that zooms in 1,200 times, and it's pretty badass. So I'm gonna be able to show not just edge stuff, but from stones to edges to finishes, all different kinds of shit. I think it'd just be cool to look at, and I can do like little videos on or insert it into videos. Anybody have?
Mm.
I have the Corvette XL, and find that it opens when you pull it from your pocket. Cut my finger when the damn well, that fucking thing's damn near not made for a pocket, man. Fucking thing's crazy.
I'm
That
not
is
even familiar with the Corvid, to be
yeah. You don't
honest.
want to be. It's not like it's not for everybody, right? It's just crazy. Here, I'll just grab it really quick just to show you. It's nuts. It almost doesn't make sense.
Oh my god, dude!
Yeah.
What? What is that? Like a Kaiser? What is it?
No, well, they used to be teamed up with Kaiser, and then they separated from Kaiser for whatever beef, I don't know. And now they're doing their own thing. It's
Oh my gosh, dude!
concept. It has really good geometry though. So it would
That's a
slice.
cleaver, dude.
Yeah, for sure. It will definitely
Oh my
slice. I
gosh.
mean, you could chop with it for sure. But we got some. Let's talk about some USA made knives. I know you really don't like the over. Well, I mean, not saying overseas, but
yeah,
the Chinese one.
Chinese.
Yeah,
Yeah,
specifically.
Chinese.
So recently got. Check out this one. I just recently got this. I got the American Blade Works Model 1.
Okay.
They recently dropped a titanium frame lock version. Now, anybody wanting to get these, he's dropping them like every week to 2 weeks. So, just keep up with him on Instagram or keep up with his site. You can get one easily. And they're pretty damn affordable. This was under $300. I think it was 280. USA
How
made. Go ahead.
how are those coming along? I know when I kind of left, like kind of was out of the community, they were still, he was still just starting, and they
Yeah.
weren't as refined, should I
No.
say, yet.
The first one I got was a liner lock, and I did have to do some work on it. I did have to send it back. And at the end, it was good. It was great at the end. So I was really happy with it at the end. But in the beginning, it was a little bit of issues. But I think he's because like you said, it wasn't as refined, but over time you master your
Yeah.
skill, right? He's gotten a lot
Yeah, of
better.
course.
I think that this is awesome. I am super
Hmm.
happy with this. Like I have no complaints on this. This is great. Fucking fantastic. The detent is super solid. It's very smooth. Just a great knife. But I can't speak for those liner locks though, because I haven't gotten a new one from him to see like if he's gotten better. But I think what he did, because they were a little gritty, I think he changed the finish because this is almost like a polished stone wash, and I think it helped a
Yeah.
lot. So
Yeah.
this is awesome. So I can highly recommend that one.
Okay.
Um, and then another one, um, Tactile Turn
Yeah,
Tactile Knife
I
Company.
saw, dude. So after you said something about tactile turn a while back or at one of your lives, and I heard it, and I was like, what? So I looked at, and they seem to have like a really thin geometry, and they're U.S. made. I definitely want to try one of those one of these days.
Yeah, and they're using different steels. Like this one's in Magna Cut.
Yeah,
It
that's
doesn't
also
have
what
like
drew
super
me.
it doesn't have like super thin geometry, but it's also not bad. Like it actually
Okay.
gets pretty thin behind the edge, but it's not a broad blade either. But for what
Yeah.
it is, man, they're doing a killer job. You can there's actually a video right now because they're out of Texas. Everyday Minimalist just did a shop tour. You can actually see a shop tour. You can see
Okay.
all their shit getting made. They're doing a killer job, and then they make pens as well. So I got one of their
Yeah.
pens. Um,
Yeah.
they do a great job. So, obviously, I advocate for any of the USA companies, to
Yeah.
kill it, and hope as many people as possible can support them that can. Um, there's a lot of other good companies that are getting stuff done overseas, like in Taiwan, like the Quiet Carry knives. They're pretty cool, and you'd like this. They're washers. They are on washers, and this is
Yeah. You
completely
know me well.
stainless. Yeah, yeah, I know what you like. Completely stainless too, and this is, Vanax. You ever fuck with
Yeah.
Vanax?
No, I've actually never used Vanax. There are a few steels that I've always wanted to try and just
Mhm.
never was able to grab one in a knife that I wanted necessarily. And Vanax was one of them. Vanax super clean, or yeah, there's definitely a few steels I never tried. And Vanax was one of them. And
What,
now obviously Magna Cut.
um, Talica, he recently got, and I'm thinking about getting one too now, but, you used to have a chef, didn't you? The Spyderco, chef?
My wait, what about my chef?
You have one still? Yeah. I'm thinking about grabbing one. I've had one. I've had them in hand. I've tested them, but I've never owned one. And Talica recently got one. One of the Bang squad members. And dude, I just love that fucking knife because I love my Slish Bowie.
Hmm.
And they just you've tried. I know you had the Slish Bowie too.
Yeah, I
So
have one right here.
how's yours holding up?
Oh, I love it, man.
I know.
I really do love this knife.
Me too.
I had always, obviously the Shabazz, like it kind of ruined the knife for the community a little bit,
Yeah. Yeah.
but honestly, it's a great knife. It really is a really good EDC knife.
It
I
is.
really do like it.
Me too. It's so
Uh, I'm sorry.
I was just saying it's so easy to carry, and
Hmm.
it's a full size knife. I honestly, before I got it, I thought it was so much bigger. I don't know why, but just
Yeah,
the perception through the camera, I thought it was bigger.
yeah.
Now I got it. I mean, it's a regular size knife, but it's a great EDC because when we talk
Hmm.
about EDC, there's knives that are like work knives. There's knives that are like, I guess, bushcraft or tactical.
Right.
That's an actual EDC knife, and that's what I love about it.
I think that's one of the things I was always an advocate for, and something that I tried to push on my channel, because people want to say like, "Oh, it's not, that's knife's not for that," or "Oh," da, 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 da." And I say, dude, it's all about purpose. It's what are you using the knife for? It's essential in understanding whether a knife is right for you or not. And I mean, I still get comments on videos, like even like my shaman video, like when I did my shaman regrind, and people are like, "Why are you complaining about it? Why don't you get the little, or like, why don't you get something else?" I said, "Look, I'm looking at what Spyderco says about the knife. Spyderco specifically says a knife that's ground to cut, essentially. The
Right.
knife was
Right.
not ground to cut,
All right.
you
All right.
know?
I know what you mean.
Like if you're grinding a knife with a optimal geometry, that's one. If you're making a knife for hard use, that's another thing. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm,
Like you have to look
mhm.
at the purpose of the knife. Like for instance,
Absolutely.
my Spidey chef, right? This is obviously highly modified. I did everything on this knife. I did read it, so this is definitely thinner than it came from the factory. And then I did a pretty much like like a anodization on the handle, and then stone washed it, and then pretty much anodized it with a lower voltage so that it has almost like a it's like it's got that high voltage green blue with like a almost like a purple underhue.
Yeah, it looks
So
great.
it really does have a great look. And then of course I stone wash the blade after I did the acid wash. And people say you can't acid wash well, I'm sorry,
LC 200N. Yeah.
LC200N. Yeah,
Yeah.
LC200N. But oh, I've done it. I've done it
How
more than
was
once.
it?
Hold on.
How was it
Oh, it's
though?
insane. Hold on.
I bet it is. Hey, oh, Breeze, thank you, man. Thank you. There is the link. Thank you. I do appreciate it. This
So,
is the link to Kenny's channel. Go and follow it.
oh, thank you guys so much. I really appreciate all that. I'm really just a guy that loves knives. So this was my other LC200N, and if you guys can
Oh,
see, it actually has a very, very interesting look to it.
that is crazy looking.
And
In a good way. I mean that in a good
LC200N
way.
has a very yeah, it has a very interesting property to where it definitely doesn't want to etch easily. This
It doesn't.
I mean, for instance, you can etch a standard stainless steel. You can etch it in minutes. Minutes with the proper chemicals, right?
Right.
LC200N, I left it in there for an hour. I mean, it was like unimaginable how much longer it took to etch it.
Right.
And in saying that, these two different knives in the same steel had very different results.
Yeah,
And
you
I
know,
don't know what
VG10
that.
does that too a little bit. VG10 gets like this weird pattern too sometimes.
Yeah,
It gets like these lines in it.
it gets wavy. So
Yeah.
see, Big Boar is talking about that. So essentially, what I did with this is when I pulled this, I think I was on the phone with Steve when I actually pulled this out of the etch, right? And when I pulled it out, I'm like, dude, I think I ruined my blade. I thought I ruined my blade. I really did. It had such an amazing look to it. It looked like the surface of Mars or something, dude. It was so gnarly and jagged, and I'm like, oh, I ruined my knife, like for sure, right? So what I then did
Yes,
is I
sir.
actually sanded it flat, and when I sanded it flat, that's what gave it that really, really cool look.
Also, after you etched it, then you sanded it. Did
Mm-hmm.
you did you
So what
just
you're actually
stonewash
seeing
it,
are
or did you actually like refinish it?
I pretty much just did a regrind, like by
Okay,
hand on the stone.
gotcha, gotcha.
And then on the flat surfaces. And I actually mentioned this in my video when I did this. I do have a video about this. But all I suggest is that if you are going to try and acid etch your LC200N or any steel, honestly, if you're going to acid etch, just make sure you mask off where your washers run. Anything that's going to be touching that you need to for the knife functioning properly, you need to make sure that you mask it off properly with something like just your standard nail polish or something like that.
Yeah,
But
for sure.
if you're going to do it, another thing I learned is that you need to not just use the nail polish, but you need to let it dry properly. I would suggest overnight
Yes,
or something.
I agree. I agree. Also, another thing that I actually learned from you doing etching is get the gloves on and take it out every so often and rub it and make sure because what
Hmm.
happens is when you leave it in the acid, the steel stays on the surface, so it doesn't even look like it's etched. You won't
You
even
can't even
realize.
tell.
No,
You can't
you
even
take it
tell.
out and then you'll touch it and it'll just fall off and you'll be like, oh
Yeah.
fuck, the thing's black underneath.
Like this thing's way darker than I ever wanted it to
Yeah.
be. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
think it's not doing
Yeah, you
anything.
do. You can pull it out and you're like, oh, it's not even
Yeah, put it
changing.
back.
But then you
No.
touch it and the steel just falls off, dude.
Yep.
It's wild.
Yes, it is.
It's
For
wild.
sure.
You learned that one with me, Jared, while I learned it.
Do you
Because I'm sorry?
I was gonna ask, do you have any favorite styles of knives? Like blade shape or locking mechanism or anything like that? Like I know like personally, like for like EDC specifically, I have a couple blade shapes that are just like my favorite blade shapes for EDC.
Right. I let me put it this way, man, because I'm such a versatile person and I do a lot of different things. I for instance, when I worked at the surf shop, I was doing a lot of cardboard cutting, as you saw in a lot of my
Yeah, yeah,
videos. I mean, I would
yeah,
cut hundreds and hundreds of feet of cardboard, if not
yeah.
in a day, in a week. You know what I mean?
Same way with
So,
the job I just quit. So much.
right. Yeah. So when you're doing that, you're definitely you're more likely to lean towards something like a drop point, something with some belly to it. Uh, but at the same time, I'm a carpenter, and I will
Mhm,
use a knife for anything. And in that sense, something like a Tonto can be very, very advantageous as well.
mhm.
So I'm an advocate of what is your use and what
Right. I am
are
too, I am too,
you
for sure.
doing that day?
Yep,
What are you
yep,
doing that day? Because
yes.
sometimes I'll grab, for instance, sometimes I'll grab the chef, and I know like, okay, if it's gonna be raining day, maybe, and then I'm gonna be not doing anything gnarly with knife, I can grab the chef and I'll be fine. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying?
Yes, sir.
Uh, and then there's knives you can just grab for just about anything, like a hinder.
Right.
There's like this skinny I can pretty much grab and know, like, no matter what I come across, it'll pretty much handle it.
Right.
I'm also not doing stupid things with my knives. Like, that's the other thing is someone will be like, oh, you can't pry with that knife. Well, yeah, that's why I have a pry bar. That's why I have other tools.
Yeah, I'll
That's
do
why I have a
stupid
chisel.
stuff with my knives for sure. Like if it has the geometry for it, go for it. Like say something like this. This thing is so thick it's built like a pry bar. And would have
Right.
no problem prying with it, but because the geometry is thicker than my actual pry bar. You know what I mean? Like so it's basically a sharpened pry bar.
Yeah.
And I remember I was talking about doing a hollow grind on this, a regrind, and somebody was bitching at me saying that they're like, why would you ruin that knife? It's built like that for a reason. And I just said, what are you talking about? Like, this is just this one. Look at his customs. His customs have hollow grinds
Yeah.
on them. What
Yeah.
do you not think that he doesn't have other versions? Like this is just this version. If you want this knife with this locking mechanism to cut, then you want to do a hollow grind because it's not made to cut. It is made to be a fucking hard use tool. But if you want that, then that's the way you should leave it.
Dude, this is where I think I mean, we all know YouTube comments are interesting to say.
For sure.
If that's what I want,
Right, then
I'm
go
gonna
fuck
do
you.
it.
Right,
What does it
right,
matter to you? Go fuck
right,
yourself, dude.
right, for
Like,
sure.
I mean, and I'll admit, like, sometimes I'd say, like, why did Spyderco make these shamans so thick, right? And the reason I said that is because of their verbiage. What they said on what they were trying to accomplish with this knife.
Right.
I wasn't trying to say, like, you know, there are a lot of people that like the Shaman thick. That's fine. You know, you can also get a lot of other knives that are thick. This Skinner, this Hinder
Yes.
Skinner,
Yeah. Yeah.
dude.
I love that.
I mean,
That's great.
dude, that's a 15-degree edge right there.
Yeah. That's
I
the same
mean,
thing I
it's
do on
like
mine,
halfway.
15 degrees.
It is not. It is a thick, thick girl,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
you know, it is what it is, and this is a knife I'll grab if I know, like, oh, if I might have to pry or something,
Right.
and
Right.
someone
It's
will look
tough.
at this and be like, dude, you're gonna use a vintage Hinder to pry? I don't give a fuck.
Right.
Um,
It's a tool. It's a
like
tool.
this.
Adam Hill, don't get one yet. Wait, there's a new version coming. You'll be way better off getting the new version. Go ahead.
Okay, so like with this, you know, what was with the nub these? You know what I mean? We all hated the
Yeah.
nub on the Shaman.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Oh, here we go. We got another
Yeah.
donation.
Ken Faulkner, thank you for the 5 bones, man. Thank you so much. Love the geeking out on knives, steel, and sharpening. Awesome live. Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
Thanks. Yeah, thanks, Ken. So, like, the Shaman is a great knife. I think it's a great knife. Personally, I thought it was too thick from the factory.
Mhm.
I reground mine.
Mhm.
I get a lot of flack on my channel on my regrind video about this knife because people are like, "Why would you regrind that knife? It's perfect." Dude, it's my knife. If I want to regrind my
Right.
knife, like,
They're
who,
just
who are you
jealous
to
because
tell
theirs
me?
don't cut as good. Because
It's just
honestly,
interesting
I've handled
concept.
both. I've handled the reground ones, and mine isn't reground, but I would totally regrind mine because the difference in cutting performance is massive. And when
Massive.
you get those good ergos, because it does have good ergos. So when you couple that with the geometry, now you have a hard use cutter, right? Because I separated between a hard use knife and hard use cutter. Hard use cutter means it's comfortable in the hand and the geometry is made to fucking cut. It's made to
Yeah,
do the
yeah,
long-term cutting because nobody wants to grab a knife and I'm talking about long-term cutting, 2 hours of cutting, or even if you have to do
right.
like 100 feet worth of cutting or something, nobody wants thick geometry. You will every single time grab the thinner geometry knife to do it. Every single time of the week, if you
Absolutely.
have the choice. If you have the choice.
And that
Oh, we
comes
got another
back to
Tony. Hold on 1 second. Steven, thank you for the 10 bones, brother. Thank you so much, man. Shout out to Steven.
so, and this comes back to something. I know that there's actually a lot of people that would disagree with you that this knife has good ergonomics, because this knife got a lot of you know, just flack for the the locking system. Obviously, a lot of people do not like the compression lock because they feel like when they're pushing through material, the compression lock digs into your hand.
It can.
So
It
if you
can.
have and I've witnessed that as well myself. But if you have good geometry, you're not going to have as
Yes.
much resistance pushing up
Right.
against your hand. And
For
this
sure.
comes back to what we've had a conversation about, and we can bring it into this chat right now. But
Mhm.
when you're actually cutting hard use or cutting through a lot of material, this is the way that knife is moving in your hand. So that's
Yes.
going to affect right here, and that's also going to affect your pinky
Yep.
as
Because
that
it
knife
because it
twists in your
turn and it
hand.
bends like this. When you start pushing and the pressure gets onto the blade, what happens? It tilts. So you're gonna get it in the
Yep.
pinky and then across your palm. So yeah, for sure. For sure.
You have two contact points there, and that's why knives like even like the Hinder, where you have all this jimping right there. You
Yes.
know, it's a spot where, like, is everyone really worried about their pinky gripping the knife? Like, is that what you're worried about? I don't really understand the concept of
I know what
pinky
you
jimping.
mean.
I personally, I'm kind of dumbfounded. Like, where did they think that was a good idea to put pinky
I don't
jimping
know.
on a knife?
I have no idea. I think
Um,
honestly, I think they were thinking more of it being pulled out of your hand, maybe or something, but I don't know.
in
I
a
can't speak for
tactical,
them.
yeah, like
Yeah.
in a tactical situation.
Yeah.
I
That's the only thing
mean,
I could think of.
are you really going to be pulling out your Hinder to protect yourself? I mean, let's be realistic. I mean, if it came down to it, yeah, my knife's going to be my last resort.
Right.
As we've had this conversation before. it's just an interesting concept. But again, if someone's pulling a knife out of your hand, is your
Thank you,
pinky
Mr.
gonna stop
Pizza.
it from coming out? Ah, sub. Thanks,
Yeah,
pizza.
thank you.
So
Yeah, thank you.
is the pinky really gonna affect? Is that really gonna keep the knife from coming out of your hand? Is pinky jimping?
No, no.
I would think
I always say I never have a problem swinging my hammer, and it has no jimping.
no jimping at
No
all,
jimping. I swing the
dude.
fuck out of that thing.
I can look at all of my tools I use at work,
Right,
and pretty much none of them have jimping on them.
right. Especially the ones that you use the hardest, your pry bar, your hammer, your sludge.
Yeah,
None of those. All of a
none of
sudden, your
them have
cutting tool
jimping on them.
needs it.
Yeah, my
Traction.
little cutting tool, my
Yeah.
the the crazy part about it too is like you said, and then I get these guys saying, "Oh, well, if you're wearing gloves, don't you wear gloves when you use those other tools you spoke of?" You know what I mean?
See, I don't see, I don't,
I've
I mean, yes, obviously I wear gloves, sometimes, especially doing construction sometimes, but most of the
right.
time I don't. Most of the
Yeah, I'm
time
not.
I don't.
Yeah. I'm with you. I'm with you. Uh, I use gloves in the winter time because when I'm gripping panels and stuff, it's hard when your hands are freezing cold. But
100%.
at the same time, like all of my knives without jimping are just as functional.
I might have to.
Yeah,
Gary, we'll see
you're
about
right.
that. I might have
You're
to,
right.
especially now that I got this Demco 8020.5 with a transparent knives reblade and magna cut at 64.5 HRC
Wow.
10,000. This thing, talk about in geometry, man. This thing is a laser beam. He did it to my specs, right? My exact specs. I asked for a spear point with hole deployment. Then I wanted a 10,000ths behind the edge. And he was like, you sure you don't want to go like 6, 7 thousandths? And it's like, no, because I know his grinds, like it's not just 10,000ths here, it's 10,000ths up here. So it's so thin. This thing's a fucking laser, and it's 64.5 HRC on the Magna Cut. This is the type of heat treats that makes you like just fall in love with Magna Cut, man. It's
Okay.
such a good steel, man.
That's something I'm
Thank you,
gonna have to
Gary.
find out about.
James, thank
That's
you.
something I'm
Thank
gonna
you
have
for
to
the two
find out about.
bones. What would you
Thanks,
charge to
guys.
sharpen a Cutco K-bar? Most of my edges are $30 a piece, but I do offer more affordable sharpening if requested. If anybody has a knife and they can't afford $30 edges, I do offer affordable sharpening.
Yeah. What do you go to? So what is your $30 sharpening? What grit are you going to? And
So
then what are you doing?
that's for whatever grit or angle they want, whatever they request. They can even, a lot of times they just ask me to do what I think is best for that steel, that knife, because
Okay.
depending on the knife and what it's for,
Yeah.
sometimes I'll ask them like, well, what do you use it for? And sometimes I just know already because I know the knife.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it does depend. And then sometimes what happens is I'll wait to get it on the stone to feel it. Because there's
Yeah.
times where you'll get steel saying the you can tell the heat treat's a little softer, so it's probably not a good idea that I take it to a certain degree, right? So
Yeah.
it just
Yeah.
it depends, but if you have exactly what you want, you can tell me and I'll do that, and I'll give you my recommendations if I recommend doing that or not if you want. But if you ask for affordable sharpening, I have belt sharpening, which is basically like a factory edge, and then also I can just give you, which is still on the stones, I will just give you basically the same angle that's on the knife and just give you a good working edge.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you
Instead
know
of when you're, I think people just, they don't understand that when you're doing when you're regrinding an edge, if you're changing the angle on an edge, the time is it's
quadruple.
yeah, quadrupled,
Yeah,
man. I
yeah.
don't think people understand that.
Yep.
Uh,
But
now
if I'm just
I
doing
would
the
just
same factory angle, usually a high
yeah.
angle, they usually don't take too long.
Well, I'm just asking because I don't know if you do like a mirror edge, and if you're doing a
Oh
mirror
yeah.
edge, that
Mhm.
that's going to be a lot more time as well.
Yep.
If you're
And
if
we'll
you're
see.
if you're
And then
looking
I
at a
do
mirror
that.
edge.
I do that too. Like I'll take it to 5,000 grit, and then I'll strop down to quarter micron. So whatever grit that is. But you know, I'll still like a lot of times with my mirror, I will leave a tiny, tiny, tiny. It's a 100% mirror, but I leave a tiny, tiny bit of scratch pattern to leave the bite. So it's a
Yeah,
beautiful edge, but it's aggressive but I won't, or I will if they ask. But usually, if it's a steel that doesn't take a great mirror edge, meaning
yeah.
it'll look good, but it just doesn't have bite. It winds up
It's
getting
not gonna
slick as snot.
perform.
No, it won't
Yeah, it's not
perform, and
gonna
I'll tell
perform.
them that. Like, this type of steel normally does not, like, say, CPM 154. CPM 154
Yeah,
hates a mirror edge. It literally will get so slick, it doesn't even feel sharp. Like, you'll think it's dull.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
better for that steel to take a coarse or, medium grit edge.
Well, I'll tell you this, Jared. I I've done mirror edges, plenty of them, right?
Mhm.
I never doing a mirror edge on my knives. Ever do I ever
Right.
do a mirror edge? Just because for me it's unnecessary. It's time spent that's unnecessary in my
Mhm.
opinion. For my knives personally, I take it to 1500 on the stones, and that's to me that's plenty for any steel
Yeah.
essentially.
Yeah.
I don't ever find it necessary to take it more than that on stones. Obviously,
Mhm.
I'll strop to 0.25 or even more sometimes, but I'm not going to take us to higher than 1500 personally.
My favorite is 600 grit. I think 600 grit is like a perfect
Yeah,
universal edge. It's just
yeah,
it has so much bite to it, yet it's
yeah.
fine enough to do all the finer stuff. But I
Right.
do like a mirror edge on certain steels, like Crewware. Crewware takes an amazing polished
Yeah.
edge.
Hmm.
K390, if you're only doing it for regular cutting, that takes
K390.
it takes such a nasty sharp mirror edge, but you want to be careful for microchipping,
Yeah, I was gonna
if your
say.
angle's really low and things like that. That's why I said if you're only using it for like regular cutting,
Yeah, yeah,
So obviously there's always variables, but there are some steels like even like 14C 28N. It takes such a sharp mirror edge,
yeah.
but universally though, I think 600 grit is just like the best universal edge.
That's
It's
actually what I
people don't
take. That's
understand
what I
how
take.
sharp 600 grit can be with the right angle.
Well, that's what I take most. Actually, what you said right there is pretty much how I go. 600 grit is what I finish most of my knives on, and like you said, it gives such a bite. Like I don't
Mhm.
think you really want to go more than that. Honestly,
Right?
like
Because sometimes it
600
goes
gives it.
downward. You wind up
Yeah,
getting less.
yeah.
It's
600
like
also
you end
has
up going
that.
backwards.
Yeah, for sure. 600 almost has that saw. It still has that saw effect
Mhm,
where
mhm.
it just has that little bit of bite where I've cut myself with knives at 600 grit where I'm
Fuck
like,
yeah.
oh,
Hyper
that like,
aggressive.
dude, it's aggressive, man.
Yeah.
600. I think that's why it surprised me when you said K390 at a mirror edge because K390 at 600 grit. Oh
I
man, those
know.
carbides, dude,
Yeah.
it's just
Uh-huh.
it'll cut all day. I mean, all day long.
I love those steels though, like those steels that are kinda like you can do any type of edge, like
Yeah,
Crewware, K390,
yeah,
those steels, 14C, they they give you the
yeah,
ability to have whatever edge you want. That's why I love those
yeah.
steels so much.
Those are all universally great steals.
Yeah,
I mean, crewwear. I will
love
say,
Crewware.
like crewwear 4V, probably some of my
Yeah.
favorite steals.
Yes, yes. 4V's another one.
Yeah,
Fantastic steel.
they're just amazing steals, and honestly, 14C28N for me is on the same level as something like LC200N. I really like LC200N as well.
Mhm,
And
mhm.
even at a lower HRC, as you'll see with something like
Yes.
14C and LC200N perform great at a lower HRC.
Yep. That's kind of the beauty with them is that you really don't see companies doing it bad.
Yeah, yeah,
Most companies don't have a problem, well, because the 14C, it originally came from AEBL, which was made for razor blades, which was made to be heat treated in a production setting. So
right.
it was made to be heat treated easily. So when you get steels like that, no company's going to fuck it up. All right. So
Yeah,
you can pretty
Yep.
much guarantee at the very least it's gonna be good. Now, there are some companies that do it a little bit better, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's awesome, but you never really get one like and I hate to beat a dead horse with this, but Demco's Oz 10, man, it fuck, man, it's so bad. And
Really?
yeah, dude, like, I like Oz 10 too. Oz 10's great. I've sharpened so much Oz 10, and I've never had an issue. Then Demco's Oz 10 came out, and I thought it was a fluke with mine. I sharpened a couple other ones. They just didn't want to take an edge. Recently, somebody in the community that I trust their sharpening, they're sending me pictures. They're sharpening theirs, and the edge is just crumbling away in one spot like this big, just literally crumbling. So he sends it back to
Wow.
Demco. Demco's going to take a look at it, replace it, whatever. Then he gets another one in, same fucking thing. And it's not like this is beyond bad heat treat. This is a shot heat treat. Like it's shot.
Wow.
It's
Yeah.
impossible to get a good edge on it.
Yeah.
And he tried everything from coarse stones to fine stones. He tried everything, and it just continued in that area to just crumble. And you can see it clear as day. And like I said, I know he does good edges.
Yeah.
So it's like, and like I told somebody earlier, they want to send me one. I said, listen, man, you can send it, but I'm just letting you know right now, it's at your own risk because I can't
Yeah.
promise that there's not something wrong with the heat treat from what I've seen so far, from the ones I've sharpened versus the ones I've seen
That's
my friend
crazy.
sharpen. I can't promise anything. So it's weird because it makes you wonder, like, what happened, right? What
Yeah.
happened that this became like a thing with that seal? I'm guessing they rushed it to get it into production. Now they switched it to D2. Now I'm not sure about the D2, so I don't want to speak about the D2. It could be great,
Do we really want to
but
talk about D2? I'm just
right,
kidding.
right. But they switched it to that, so I don't, I haven't done it yet, so I can't speak for
Yeah.
that stuff. But you know, fuck, man, it's weird. And Os 10 from Cold Steel, because the theory was, and I'm not saying this is true because I don't know, but the theory was that he must be getting them done in the same place as Cold Steel, right? Because Cold Steel
Right.
from Taiwan, right? Demco's not his USA made ones, but obviously
Yeah.
the production ones he was getting made were from Taiwan too. So it's like you would
Okay.
think he's good friends with Cold Steel, so it just made sense, right? He's probably getting it
Right.
done at the same factory, right? Now,
Yeah.
I don't know because I've never had Cold Steel's OS 10 like that from Taiwan. Never, ever, ever, ever. It's
I
always
don't
been fine.
I don't know if I've ever actually tried OS 10. I've had plenty of OS 8. Um I I have an old OS 8, like what was it? The original. Oh, which knife was that? Oh, dude, I'm having a brain fart right now. It's been a while, but what's
It happened.
the Recon? The Recon, okay, I have an original, like the one with the almost like an access lock, and it has OS 8. And the thing takes such a screaming edge, man.
Yeah,
Their
yeah.
OS 8 is really well done, man.
Well, even
I've
most
been
OS 10
impressed.
I've tried. Same thing. Most
Yeah.
OS 10 I've tried was all great. And like Lindy Lou saying, hers is fine. And I've heard that too from a lot of people. So like I don't know if it's maybe just from the first batch, because the first batch they were rushing to get the Blade show last year.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
maybe they figured it out. I don't know.
Yeah.
Obviously, how the fuck can I know? I just know what's happened, right? I know
Yeah.
mine took 5
Your
of the most
experience.
well, mine took 5 edges of like crazy steel removal, so technically, I guess you could say like 10 edges of
Yeah.
steel until I finally got into good steel. Finally, I did, but I lost hope after the first
That's
sharpening I did. I worked on it so long and I gave up. I fucking gave up twice.
That sounds
Then the
like an
third
overheated edge, dude. That sounds like an
something.
overheated edge.
But
I mean,
think about how much steel that is to remove that I gave up. That's a lot
dude,
of
so
steel removal.
you saw what like Gerald and Steve were doing. I mean, with the
Mhm.
whole
Oh yeah.
overheated edge. I mean,
Yes, absolutely.
I would not be surprised if it took you 10 edges, dude, because the way these companies, especially if they're rushing to get this thing on the line,
Mhm.
dude, they were probably on that grinder, dude. Dude, that
Sparks
thing
just
was probably,
fucking flying.
oh, dude. It
Hey,
was
mom.
probably overheated as hell, man.
Yeah, probably. I
Oh,
mean,
mom.
it's
Hey, mom.
possible. It's weird though that like with my buddies that in a specific spot, like you could see where the beginning of the edge and the end of the edge was going okay, and then the middle is just crumbling away. Like that's fucking weird. Like the only
Well,
time I've ever seen things like that is like Pakistani steel.
yeah. Well, if this is one thing that you'll realize if you do regrind, like if you do a regrind yourself on an actual grinder, there's
Mhm.
certain areas of the blade that are going to get hotter than others.
Right.
Like
Yep.
even if you're moving back and forth, if you're moving back and forth, that center is getting hotter than the two edges.
Mhm. Yep, because they're
So that
getting a
could
little bit of
be
oxygen each direction. Yep.
each direction. So that
Yep.
center is going to get heated faster than the two edges.
Yes.
So that
Yes.
could explain where that little spot in the center is getting overheated.
Yeah.
I've
I
never
mean,
tried,
that does I didn't even think about that. That makes a lot of sense. I didn't even think
but
about that. That does make a
I
lot of
haven't
sense.
tried one of these Dimcos. I know there's a lot of heat on these right now. A lot of people are talking about it. I'm noticing as I come back into the community a little bit. The 20 and a half here
Mhm.
that people are mentioning.
Civivi all
Yeah,
day.
that's.
They're
I'm
both
gonna have
good
to
though.
try
Both of them
one.
are good. Civivi's better though. Um, the
I'm sorry. Which
the
one's better?
He was asking me for Tucson or Civivi's 14C. They're both
Oh,
good.
okay.
Both of them are good, but Civivi does a little bit better job. Their HRC is a little bit higher. The one good thing about the Demcos, which I know they're already kind of expensive, but transparent knives, you can get the whatever blade shape, grind, and steel you want. And think about that: the geometry you want, the blade shape you want, and he's not going to have your knife because the way these are, their tolerances are a little bit better and they have a little bit more give. So he'll be able to make the blade and send it to you without you sending him your knife. That's amazing.
That
He's
is
doing
awesome.
amazing
That's
shit.
awesome
Yeah.
that Brian's doing that. Are those
Yeah.
are those bearing knives?
Yes. Yes. Tiny
Oh,
bearings.
I'm
But
out. I'm out.
I know you were going to say that. I will say this though. Check this out though. I will say this. They're very tiny bearings. I have no doubt that you couldn't put phosphor bronze in it.
Very
Because
thin, huh?
dude, they're very thin, like really, really thin.
Okay.
You could easily put washers in it. I
Fine.
had like no doubt.
Maybe put some nylotron in there or something.
Yeah, no, for sure. I bet you Hinder's nylotron washers are thicker than their bearings.
Yeah, this is Teflon right here. That horrible Teflon washer.
Yeah, that horrible Teflon washer action. This one's phosphor bronze, Spartan. This one's like
Oh
it is
yeah.
so broken in.
Oh man. My both of my fire tacks, the actions are amazing, and they're the old
That's
fire
the way
tacks
this
that don't
one
have the
feels.
tri-way.
Yeah,
Yeah, that
this one
looks like a
feels a
fire
lot.
tack.
It does,
It looks like a
just like
fire
a
tack.
beefier one. I
Yeah,
love this
I've
thing.
wanted to try one of those Spartans, but they're so thick, man.
They are no, yeah, they are. They're very
And
thick.
that plunge
Um,
grind is like it's the most hideous thing I've ever seen.
I know I keep talking about it and I just haven't done it. I am for sure gonna send this to BGM. I'm gonna have them throw in a sharpening choil and a regrind, hollow grind, just because, man, I love it so much the way it is. So I can only imagine after that, you know how
Yeah,
it's like it makes it your style, and it's like,
yeah.
I
Well,
know how much I love it already. So that would just take it over the top.
that's something that I don't think people really give enough credit to is if you like a knife and then you're like, "Oh, I don't like this about it." And then they like go searching for the next knife thinking like,
Right.
"I'm going
Make
to
it better.
find this perfect knife." Just
Mhm.
change the one you have.
Yep.
Just small altercations to your knife can make it exactly what you want. I don't like a shaman from the factory, but I took the little nub off. I did a regrind. I love this knife.
Right.
You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yes.
Just change it. You can make little small altercations and they don't have to be dramatic. And you can make a knife that's something that's okay to something that's perfect for what you want. You know what I mean?
And you'd be surprised at how affordable some of these things are if you can't do it yourself. sending
Right.
it to knife
Yeah.
modders, BGM knives, you know, like, obviously, doing extravagant shit is gonna cost you
Yeah.
some money. You get a mirror
Yeah.
blade done or something, that's gonna cost you, but getting a regrind or a choil added or, access to a lock bar cut out or, you
Right.
know, little simple things, like, it's easy, and I'm saying if you can't do it at home, because you might be able to just do it at
Yeah.
home very easily, and that's why a
Right.
lot of times in my reviews, I will show you, like, if it had bad access to the lock bar, I'll cut it out myself and I show you how to do it at home because it's so
Yeah.
easy. I want you to be able to, because it might not be that knife that you have, but you might have another knife that's driving you nuts, and that would make you carry it. You know,
Yeah.
the little thing.
Dude, the one of the easiest mods that I don't understand why more people don't do it is something like, for instance, a PM2, right? The
Mhm.
PM2 is like one of the most sought after, like it's like the true EDC. Everyone thinks it's like the best EDC ever.
Right.
Dude, round those edges, man. That thing's like the edges
Yep.
are sharper than the edge of the knife. You know what I'm saying? Like, which I never really understood because I don't even have a PM2 at this point.
When you start bearing down on them, they pop out. You definitely
Oh,
notice all those
dude,
corners.
that's what I think. Like everyone's like, "Oh, the PM2 is the best." I'm like, "You obviously don't use your PM2 because if you used it, you would hate it."
Yeah.
Um, but the thing I never understood is the military, right? It's
Uh-huh.
it's what started. It's what started those other knives. You know
That
what I'm
that
saying?
generation. Yeah.
The PM2, the Para 3, they all kind of started with the military. The one
Hmm.
thing I never understood is the military has the most chamfering out of any of those knives. Why didn't they do the same thing that the military has
Hmm.
on the PM2 and then the Para
Yeah.
3?
Right.
It's
Right.
just so much more comfortable to use than both of those other two knives because
Hmm.
the chamfering on it is much more dramatic than either of those other two knives I'm talking about.
But and like you said, though, how easy it is to do that yourself.
So I mean, all you need is
How
a piece
easy.
of sandpaper,
Piece of
honestly.
sand and a little bit of elbow grease. That's it.
That's it. That's it. And you can
So
fix a
simple.
problem. You don't even have to take the knife apart if you don't want to. If you want
No,
to, take it apart and so you don't get it all
no.
dusty, you don't even have to take the knife apart.
I
You
couldn't tell you
know,
how many
it's
mods I've done without taking a knife apart.
yeah,
I've done
just
so many.
it kind of blows my mind that more people don't think about those things. Like instead
There you
of
go.
bitching about this small thing, yeah, adding a sharpening choil,
Yeah,
adding
super easy.
um, the one thing I will suggest to people out there, if you're gonna mod your knife in a sense of like, if you're just if you're just cutting a little bit, like even something like the hinder or skinny, it would be hard for me to show you, but you can kind of see there's a little bit of extra material on the G10. You could just remove that, and you'd have better access to your
I know exactly what you're
lock
talking
bar.
about. Yeah, I know exactly what you're
Okay,
talking about. Yep.
and it's a thin spot. On the skinny, it's a
Yeah.
very thin area that
It's
can
like they
actually
made
really
it for you to do
affect.
that. It's like they made it for you to
Exactly,
do that. Yeah.
exactly. So
Yeah.
that's a small mod that you can do without even taking your knife apart. Now, if you're going to work on the blade of your knife,
Is Brian
hey,
in here? Oh, he
Brian.
is in here. Shout out to
Hey,
Transparent Knives.
Brian.
Go and follow
What's
his
up,
channel
man?
or go and follow his Instagram. He's the one who did the reblade. He's doing the reblades on the 80 20.5s. He does other knives too, but go and follow what he's doing so you can possibly get a blade for yourself to your specs and everything I've already been talking about for the past hour. So definitely go and follow his Instagram. Keep up with what he's doing. He's definitely
That's
somebody in
awesome,
the
Brian.
community you do not want to not pay attention to. Lefty
Yeah.
EDC, he prefers to just bitch about the stuff and say, "Fuck."
Hey,
All right,
hey, we
mom, I
need those
love you.
guys too.
Sweet dreams.
We need those guys too. We need the guys that just bitch about it. Otherwise,
Got to.
things don't change. But
Right. That's true.
but what I was going to say is that if you're going to modify your blade, if you're going to modify the steel, just make sure you do it properly. If you're going to do a regrind and you're going to use some type of grinder, I suggest finding a way to keep the knife cool. Whether using, like, obviously wet grinding is the best way to go about it, or
Right.
hand, dude. Elbow
Oil,
grease,
water,
man.
something. Yeah, slower. Yeah, do it slower by hand. Definitely. Or you know what? If it is something though, like that is a little bit past your league of skills or tools, that's a time when you can send it to Knife Matters,
Yeah.
have it done.
Yeah.
But
Send it to Brian. Send it to
right, send it to
BGM.
Brian, BGM, just because you'd be surprised how affordable something like that is, and then how much more like love you'll get for that knife. Way
Yeah.
more than you'll
Yeah.
spend on it. You know, that little
Yeah.
$60, $80 you're gonna spend on that, you're gonna get way more out of that fucking knife. So much more.
Well, and it's almost like, okay, you can spend a lot more money looking for that knife you think is going to be that perfect EDC when you can just spend a little bit more on the one that you think is almost perfect and make it perfect for you.
Right.
You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
for
Um,
sure, for sure.
and and like for instance, you just don't want to. I mean, obviously, it's always fun like trying all the different knives as well. Like if that's your deal, then
Yeah, of
then
course. There's you gotta you wanna do that, but don't make it to the point to where you're leaving a knife behind because of a little detail that you can
yeah,
easily fix.
absolutely,
Be
yeah,
you know, at least show that knife some love too. It's one thing, if get as many knives as you want, fuck it, enjoy it, right? But
yeah,
but
yeah.
don't not enjoy one because of something that's stupid. Now, like you said just a second ago, which I do want to hit on a little bit more, we do need the guys because like me, and I know this can be a little detrimental. I'll bitch, but I'll fix it and then I'll stop bitching. And then it doesn't do
Hmm.
everybody else justice. I try to
Yeah,
teach the people how to do it, but we do need the other guys in the community fucking drilling that shit
yeah,
and bitching about it because you're right. Companies
right.
aren't going to switch it if guys like me will just fucking fix it for them.
Yeah.
You know,
It's honestly, and that's part of like what I went through. Hold on, let's see what Lindy said. Yeah,
regrind, sharpening
absolutely,
tools,
Lindy.
ergos, mods, polish washers, swapping out deep carry, all things that can make a huge difference, a
Yeah,
massive difference. A
and
complete,
they can
it's almost like a
change.
different knife
Yeah, you can
in a
change a
better
knife,
way.
and
Yeah.
and that's actually something I want to mention really quick because there is something to be said about everyone wants a deep carry. You know, like all these guys will change their knife to a deep carry, and I honestly think sometimes changing your knife to a deep carry ruins the ergonomics from the
I do too.
original clip.
I do too.
Um, Sometimes the original Spyderco clip is something everyone wants to change,
Mine's
and
on.
there's something to be, when
I
your
only have
hand,
one Spyderco with a different clip. I
the
agree.
the
I think
Spyderco clip's well done,
yeah.
honestly.
Chris Reeves clips. I like them.
Yeah. Oh,
I
I
love them.
never change a Chris Reeves. Chris Reeves clip. So, for instance, the only issue I have with a Chris Reeves clip. So I got a Sabenzo, a large right here, right?
Mhm.
The only issue I have with I think honestly, the Chris Reeve clip is one of my favorite clips.
Me too. I
The
agree.
double retention, like also on
Yeah.
a Microtech. Microtech has
Mhm.
that as well.
Yes,
It makes
yes,
it
yes.
very easy to get in your pocket, but still has
Mhm.
enough retention to keep it from
You
staying,
feel
keep
it
it in your
pulling
pocket.
as it's coming out of the pocket, but it's so
Yeah.
easy to just put right in. That's the
Yep.
type of clip I like. Perfect clip.
Now, the one issue I'll say I have with the Chris Reeve clip is sometimes because of that double retention,
Uh-huh.
it doesn't quite go all the way into your pocket. You think it's all the way in and it's catching
Uh-huh. Yeah.
on that little groove.
Yeah, that's
Now,
one thing I don't like when I got clips, like, with a ramp or the screws are higher or something like that. That can
yeah,
really piss
sometimes it
me
gets
off.
caught. But it's a
Yeah.
small gripe, and I'll give it up for the idea of that ease of going in and out of your pocket.
Yeah,
Yeah, you are a service lefty.
I think I think having to me personally, like I like deep carry clips too, but I also
Mhm.
like non-deep carry clips. The biggest thing is how it functions and not I never was like a gripe. Like I never like got too pissed off. And I used to like wonder like why are these guys bitching so much about clips? But then after putting knives in my pocket all day long every day, you start realizing, man, I'm going through pants. They're tearing up my fucking
Yeah, tearing
pockets.
up the pants, yeah.
I so now it's like and then also the second thing is, in my hand. I wanna be able to grab it and not have
Yeah.
it just stabbing me in the hand. And
Yeah.
some deep carry clips are great. They're comfortable in the
Yeah.
hand and they work functionally good. But those are the two things. I definitely want them to function in and out of my pocket. I
Yeah.
can't stand it when they just get hung up and and then pulling it out, you can just feel it tearing those threads from your pocket.
Yeah.
Pisses me
the
off.
the one way to tell a knife guy is look at his pocket. Look at his
Yes,
right
we are doing
pocket.
story time. Story time's here in 1 minute. As soon as we're done with this conversation, then we're gonna go to story time. You
Yeah.
got the reminder about
And
story
another
time.
thing that everyone will bitch about is the, obviously the tip up, tip down versus tip up. Everyone wants to bitch about that, but honestly, I think depending on the knife, a large knife like this, I really do like tip down
Yeah.
personally. Even if I have the option, my police has it tip down, just because bigger knives come in and out of the pocket better with tip down. Personally, I think.
They're easier to get to the top of the knife because you're already there. You don't have to
Yeah.
climb.
Lindy's saying how ugly this clip is. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
pretty ugly.
yeah.
But
Got the 2 cent
honestly,
deal.
function,
I know, you're right, yes,
is
the titanium ball clips, those suck. Sorry, go ahead.
titanium ball clip.
Yeah, where it's kinda like the ceramic ball clips, where they
Yeah,
have
yeah,
the
I know what you're
ball,
saying.
but instead they do it out of titanium. They fucking suck. Don't do that.
Uh,
Whoever's designing knives like that, even the Todd Begg knives with the ceramic ball clips, that was never a good idea. It was never a good idea. I don't know why he still does it. I don't know why it's a thing, because none of them are good. The ones that are okay, they still don't have good tension. They just
yeah,
don't
I'm
chew
not.
your pockets up. Like, that's it. I
Yeah,
can't stand them.
I don't have a whole lot of experience with that. I have this one I showed everyone in
Yuck.
the live. I have this one
Me either. Me either. I can't stand that either. Said,
that has the ball, but
yeah.
I don't really. I don't know. It definitely doesn't have the retention of a regular clip. Definitely doesn't.
Well, so
I'm
one of the problems is a lot of times they have too much retention. Then the only
uh
way they can make them work is if they make them have no retention. One of the two. It's like there's no happy medium. They're either
so
tearing your
you're
pants
talking
up, or they're not hanging on.
so you're talking about Medford now.
Right.
Oh, sorry.
Right. Medford doesn't like them hang on. Right, right. They like
Bro,
a little bit of gap between they
dude,
like
I gotta say, the two Medfords I've had, the clips are awful.
yeah, they're not the
Awful.
best of clips. I love the knives though. This one slips in
Yeah,
and out of the pocket great, but if I had to jump out of a tree or something, I'd probably drop it because or
yeah,
if I was hanging upside down, it's for sure coming out. I
yeah.
like putting this in my oh man, what the hell's
Is
it
that a
called? Well, my
slim
ABC
midi or the
organizer.
just a reg? Is that a
The
slim
slim
midi?
midi. Yeah, the
Yeah,
slim
yeah,
midi.
yeah.
So thin. So
Yep.
slim. I love this knife so much. This is like one of my favorite knives, man. I fucking love this knife.
Yeah, mine
Oh
has
yeah,
like
nice.
mine is 10 thousandths behind the edge too. It's like
Damn, mine's 15.
okay, dude.
They
I
they
when
they
I
they have a variation.
yeah, there's a slight variation, which I would say
Yeah,
is not so slight.
it's within their range
Yeah,
of 20 thousandths.
yeah. Whichever, if anyone wants to go watch Super Steel Steve's video about that, you'll see a little bit because he actually asked Greg about my knife when he spoke to Greg, and he was
Uh-huh.
like, "Oh, my buddy has a slim midi and it's 10 thousandths behind the edge," and Greg was like, "Oh, I would have never let that leave the factory." And guess what? I'm never sending this knife back to his factory because I love it.
Yeah, yeah.
And if he gave me a different blade, I'd be very upset.
Right, right. Yeah, mine's 15 and I love it, dude. And the blade stock is already so thin, so it just
Yeah,
makes it even better.
yeah,
I love that he didn't do a super robust blade on that. Now the actual like MIDI Marauder is a beast. The
yeah. I
Marauder's
want to
obviously
try
a
one.
beast.
I want to
The
try one.
I tried one. I tried the MIDI, not the actual Marauder, but the MIDI Marauder. Loved it. It's a chunky fucker, but it's
Yeah,
it's badass. Super
that's like
smooth.
your what's it called? Pry bar knife.
Yes, exactly. Mhm.
Yeah.
So, we have story time coming up. Did you think of a story to tell?
I do have a pretty good one. I think you
All
guys will
right,
enjoy.
let's get it.
All
The floor is
right.
yours.
So let me set the mood here. I'm probably about maybe 24, 25, I think, when this happened. In my mid 20s somewhere. And I still like to have a good night out drinking at that point in my life. So, and I was also, for you guys that don't know, I don't know how much I mentioned this, but I grew up playing ice hockey, right? And at the moment, I was living in Florida. I was, I was still playing adult league hockey here and there.
Mhm.
And I was hanging out with some of the guys I played adult league with. And it happened to be, which just passed, it happened to be St. Patty's Day. And we were all going to go out drinking, right, after the game. And after the game, we decided, let's go to get something to eat. I mean, for those of you guys that play hockey know that it's an extremely, extremely, just it takes everything out of you when you play,
I can
even in
imagine.
adult league.
Yeah.
Yo, what's up, Mark? So what I ended up doing was we went to go get sushi. Yeah, ice hockey and Florida do not go together, but and I will say the hockey I played in Florida was awful. It was
I bet.
horrible. I hated it, but it was still I got to play, so I was happy. I got to play
Right,
some
right.
hockey.
How long did you play for? Just a quick question.
I played from 3 years old, dude. I
Th-
was literally playing
Damn.
ice hockey at 3 years old.
Nice,
So
nice. Learned
I
how to
played
skate before you could walk. Good.
Yeah,
Nice.
exactly. And
Yeah.
I don't want to. I'm not very proud of this, but even before I played ice hockey, my mom, because my sister was a figure skater, I actually
Okay.
started figure skating when I was 2.5 years old. Believe it or not.
Damn.
So yeah,
That's
so I
awesome
figure
though.
skated. Yeah, it was great because when I started playing hockey at 3, I was actually way ahead of the game, and I could skate better than kids that were like 5 or 6 years old.
Right.
So
Right.
so I played this adult league, and my buddies and I were like, okay, after the game, we're like, let's go get some food, and we decided to get sushi, which was not the best idea considering sushi is not the most filling. Uh,
How did that comment show up before you said that?
I don't know. That's pretty crazy. I'm kind of
What
blown
the
away by
fuck? Go ahead.
that. So we got sushi, and it wasn't the most filling dinner I could have had before going out for a night of drinking.
I
But
bet.
when we got out there, we ended up going out to some bar, and first thing I did was do what's it called? Irish car bomb, right?
Okay.
Do you like hockey because of the blades? Yeah, right. Yeah, nice and sharp. Yeah.
Right. Nice and
Oh
sharp.
yeah, for sure. Uh, so I end up having an Irish car bomb beer right in my hand. Finish that beer pretty quickly. My other buddy comes up with another Irish car bomb. Boom, second Irish car bomb, and then another beer to chase that Irish car bomb. Next thing I know, before I knew it, I had 4 Irish car bombs and 4 beers. And that's the last thing I remember. That's the
Uh-oh.
last thing I remembered was my 4th beer. At some point during that 4th beer, right?
Some reason I hear
I don't know
like a
how many
cell
more I
door
had.
closing here soon.
I'm sorry.
I said some reason I hear a cell door closing here soon.
Yeah, no. Luckily, no. But yes,
Okay.
that could easily have been how it ended.
It usually does.
Uh, yeah. Uh, it was. I I didn't. I never really blackout. I never got blackout
Me
drunk
neither.
throughout my
I
life.
have, but I usually 99.9% of the time I don't.
Yeah, exactly. I'm very good at knowing my limits. You know what I
Me
mean?
too.
But when you add something like Irish car bombs or Jägermeister or anything like that into the mix, so for some reason it always ends up in a blackout
Yeah.
kind of
You blacked out
situation.
before you started.
Yeah. So so I end up blackout drunk, and next thing I know, so the last thing I remember was that last Irish car bomb and that last beer. And then all I know is my buddy wakes me up and says, "You got to
Oh,
go."
shit.
I'm at his house when I wake up, and he's like, "You have to leave," and I'm like, "What are you talking about?" I'm like, "What happened?" He's like, "You got to go, man. You just have to go." And I didn't understand what had happened. I didn't know anything of what was going on. So all I remember is him telling me I have to go, and then I wake up in my bed. That's all I remember. And I'm just like,
Uh-oh.
what the hell happened last
There's
night?
there's there's some time missing between there now.
Not only just time missing, but time from me leaving his house and getting home, which is the
Right.
scariest part about this.
Right. Right. How did I get here?
I would never ever suggest somebody driving
Obviously,
drunk
right.
at all, much less blackout drunk. I
Right.
mean, I was so upset when I woke up and I realized I was in my bed. I'm like, how did I get home? And this
Yeah.
guy just sent me off out of his house
Right. Right.
without, like what? You just told me to go home when I'm that drunk?
Right. Yeah.
So,
That's not responsible at all for a
no,
friend.
no. If
Your
if
friend should
anything,
have
I
your
would have
back.
said, yeah, if anything, I would have said like put me on the lawn. You know
Right.
what I mean?
Right.
Like take my
Call me a
keys away.
taxi or something. Something.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, this was before Ubers and stuff like that.
I know, that's why I didn't say Uber, because I already knew
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah.
Taxi.
Not to give away my age here, but but so anyways, I ended up calling him, and I'm like, dude, you got to tell me what happened. The whole day I went to work that day, which mind you, I'm a carpenter. At the time, I was carpenter on boats. I'm at work by 7:30. He
Mhm.
wasn't even awake at that point. I go to work. I end up like working half the day, and finally I get a hold of this guy and find out what happened. So what I did is in my drunkenness, and I used to just to go back a little bit further. I used to be an avid sleepwalker when I was young.
No shit.
Yeah, yeah, like crazy shit,
Wow.
like waking up outside, having
Yeah.
a nightmare,
Yeah.
like wake up outside, or like when I was 13, my mom woke me up when I was climbing the railing on the second story of a of an
Wow.
of a hotel.
Wow.
So I was an avid sleepwalker. Scary, scary stuff.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And what ended up happening was he told me that in the middle of the night, I woke up, walked into his girlfriend's mom's room,
Oh, shit.
and pissed on her bed. Literally, like standing up, like I was at a urinal, whipped it out,
Oh,
and
yeah,
pissed on the
yeah,
corner of her bed.
yeah, yeah. You were in the bathroom in your head.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah,
Yeah,
100%.
yeah.
And
I
she
did that
literally
one time
woke
too.
up. She woke up like, "What are you doing?" Walked over to me and shook me, and I continued to pee on the bed as she was shaking me.
Damn. Damn. Damn.
No recollection of this.
Right, right. Fuck.
Yeah.
So
Fuck.
I literally have such a similar story. It's crazy. Took it was a night I was partying, drinking. I think I took some ecstasy and shrooms and a bunch of shit. And I don't have no recollection of this, but I was told this. So I wound
Wow.
up getting up, and I've only slept walked a couple times in my life. I used to
Okay.
have really bad sleep paralysis. I still get it sometimes, but not like I used to. Like I used to have severe cases of sleep paralysis. But I guess they were still partying out in the living room, and there was a couple girls sitting on a couch, and I just walked over to them, and there was a picture frame, family picture frame, and I flipped it like the toilet seat, and I just whipped down, started pissing right there. And I don't have no, and then I guess, they
Oh
were
my
like
god.
yelling at me or whatever, and I just turned around and walked back to the room,
Yeah.
literally
Went back to the
treated
room.
them, yeah, treated them like they were the bathroom. And it's weird because I did have some sort of like in my mind, like,
Like a
yeah, I went to the
dream.
like a bathroom dream though. Like I just went to
Yeah,
the
yeah.
bathroom and there was a toilet, and
Yeah, yeah. Oh my
But fuck,
gosh,
man, I can
dude.
only imagine the girl though. Like I'm walking up, I just whip my shit out. Like, what are you doing? I just
Yeah.
start fucking pissing at him. Fuck.
Let me ask you this. Did you paint your name on them?
Right. I think it's hilarious that I flipped the damn picture
The
frame like it
picture,
was the
yeah.
toilet. Just be
Oh
gone.
my gosh, that's priceless, dude. That's
Yeah.
priceless.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
you want to
Fucking
hear something funny? Is I
yeah.
had the audacity to end up asking that girl out like 2 years later.
I swear this won't happen again. It's never happened to me before.
Wow. Well, I don't know where I got the nerve to do that one, but
I mean, you've seen me, so yeah, right. So, what
oh.
did you ever have to deal with the mom ever again?
No, 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 no. I never and
That's a good
honestly,
thing.
I don't think I ever went out with them again, obviously. I don't think they would want to go out with me again after that one,
Right.
but
You wound up being that guy.
yeah, I was that guy, which I
Yeah.
never was, dude. I was always the guy going, "What's up with that guy?" I was
Right.
never that guy. So,
Yeah.
yeah, it
It's
was
weird
very
when you
interesting.
happen to turn into that guy.
I
You
think
know?
we've all been that guy at some point in
Fuck
our
yeah.
life.
Fuck
Yeah.
yeah.
Or
I'm
you're not living,
subbing.
right?
Oh, thank you. I do appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Hey, thanks. Right on, dude.
Um, no, I have a little story, and it's kind of me a bad guy. It's a school fight story, and I acknowledge that I'm the bad guy in this. And I know I've told lots of stories where I'm the bad guy, but it just so happens to be this. So I'm in high school, and there's this other dude that he's a bigger dude than me, but like I already know, like I would knock the shit out of him, like if we got into a fight. But he supposedly had said something to some of my friends, and
That's
or in a
horrible.
group or something, said something about beating my ass or something like that. I don't know. And my friends come to me, and you know how friends are in high school, they start egging it on. What are you gonna
Oh, of
do? What are you
course.
gonna do? What are you gonna do? Right? All that shit. And I'm like, obviously after all that, I'm like, I'm gonna go slap the fuck out of him, right? Like
Yeah.
he's talking all this shit. But the thing is that this is the part why I'm a bad guy, is because I knew I would win the fight. Right?
Okay.
You shouldn't be fighting people you know you're gonna win the fight. And
Yeah.
it was one of those situations where I don't know why he said it, but he knew it too, right? He knew it too.
Yeah.
So it was kind of a weird situation. So I
He
go
wrote
and
a
I
check his ass couldn't cash.
right, but it just doesn't make sense, and I
Yeah.
probably should have let it go, because knowing that both of us already know this,
Mhm.
but instead I seeked him out, right, in front of the fucking high school, in front of a bush outside. He's standing in front of this bush, and I walk up to him, and then I said something to him like, "Oh, you're gonna beat my ass," or something like that, and he instantly goes, "No, wait," right? And puts his hands up because he knows like I'm just coming in fucking his ass up. And
Right.
he
You're
puts
coming
his
in
hands up
hot.
and yeah, I was already steaming. I'm with my friends, egging me on, fucking
Yeah.
poking the bear. So I fucking just walk up to him, I asked him that, he covered up, and I just start lighting him up. And he falls back into a bush. Because like the last time I punched him, I got him really good. And he fell back into a bush and then went to cover up like this, but with his head down, because he's like he fell in a bush and then he goes down like that and he goes to cover up. And then I seen the opportunity for a kick to the face, and I kicked him
Ooh.
right in the face. And I shouldn't have done that. Like it was already done and over with. And I'm not the guy to beat on somebody while they're down. Like I'm totally not that fucking guy. Like when you fall down, it's over, right? Like I'm not
Yeah.
that guy.
Mhm.
But in this instance, I was, and it's not one of my better moments. But I did wind up kicking him right in the fucking forehead, and fucked his ass up pretty bad. But like I said, though, I'm definitely out of line here because he knew it. Like I said, when I walked up to him, he knew it. That's why he covered up, right? That's why
Yeah.
he covered up. He covered up because he knew I was coming. And it was just one of those situations, a high school situation where I was egged on and, ego and probably testosterone going through the roof and hormones and everything and just being a dumbass. But I do feel bad about it now. And I think a couple weeks later I did say something to him, because I don't remember if I did, but I think I did. I hate to, make a
Hmm.
claim that didn't really happen, but I feel like I did say something to him because it didn't make sense. Like, why would you say that knowing like what I'm gonna do to you? Like, I'm gonna
Yeah.
fuck you up. Like, don't do that. And I'm not trying to act like I'm badass or nothing. It's just that I knew this dude.
Yeah.
It's not that we were
Yeah.
friends or anything, but like we both knew this, right? So it's like,
You
and
knew
that's
well
another
enough to
reason.
know what was going to happen when
Right,
you got in a fight
right.
with him. Yeah.
Exactly. That's my point. He knew well enough, and that's also why I shouldn't have done it, you know?
Yeah.
But it is what it is. It happens, so
Yeah. We all have done things that we're not proud of. And
right.
I think what makes the difference is that you were, wise enough to know that you made a mistake and that,
Yeah,
um,
for sure.
I mean, honestly, I couldn't tell you a fight I've ever been in where I didn't feel horrible after. Even if it was
Right.
someone that I was evenly matched with or kicked my ass. I mean,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter. Like I feel bad afterwards, dude.
Mhm.
And I think that just shows empathy. It just shows that you have a heart, that you're a good
Yeah.
person.
I think you should
Uh,
always be willing to fight, but
yeah,
yeah, I
yeah,
do think it does take a level of empathy because I think if you're going around fighting people and you don't have some type of sympathy or empathy in you, then you're fucking psychotic. I
yeah,
mean,
yeah. That's
you know
it.
what
You're
I
kind of
mean?
crossing a line. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, because
crossing
now
a line there.
you're fighting to hurt people. Not saying like that you shouldn't like in like a boxing setting or like
Yeah.
like a UFC setting, something like that, that you shouldn't have fun in training and things like that. But when it comes to actual aggressive, angry fighting, where you're
Yeah.
both mad or whatever, yeah, you definitely feel bad afterwards if you have any sort of brains, unless if you got like because I've been jumped before
Oh
where
yeah,
I've
yeah.
gotten
That
into
would that.
fights where
Yeah,
in those cases, no, I didn't feel
yeah.
bad whatsoever, like, they were either
No,
trying to
that's a
rob
different
me.
story.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
In
that's
those
a different
cases, I was
story.
happy to win, or when I lost, happy to lose the way I did maybe.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, that's different. That's definitely different. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, it's always something when it's like, oh, that guy stole my eraser or something, and you got in a fight, and it's like, dude, in the reality of things, like, was it really worth it? But
Yeah, yeah,
yeah, when you're talking about protecting yourself or anything like that, I mean, let's be honest. Like, I would kill a man if
yeah,
if I was protecting myself or my loved
mhm,
ones or anything like that. Like,
yeah. No, I'm
dude,
super protective. That's one thing
yeah,
like that I actually have to watch myself on because I am very protective over, like, my family, friends, my girl, like, I
yeah,
I'll on the drop of a dime, I will fucking lose it over
oh
being
yeah,
protected.
yeah,
So
oh,
I, I
100%.
definitely try to watch myself with that, but because it's not good to be hot tempered in those situations. You definitely want to be very thoughtful in your
Yeah,
next move because there's been times where I've overreacted, where it was
hmm,
was out of line. Like um at one time, and this is dumb, nothing happened here, but Kara's telling me about somebody at her work. Right. So we're about to walk into her work and she just got done telling me about somebody. Okay.
oh no, I see where this is going.
Yeah. Well, a guy is outside and he walks up and he starts talking to her. I instantly in my head think it's him. Right.
Yeah,
Well, he put his hand out to shake my hand. So I grabbed his fucking hand like I was going to break it. Right. I just started squeezing it. But then I realized right in that moment, wrong guy. Right. So I stopped. The guy
yeah,
was mentally challenged.
oh jeez, bro.
Yeah. So, and, like, those are the times where I'm saying, like,
Oh
you
man,
gotta fucking smash your ego. I didn't hurt him. I didn't
yeah,
hurt him. He was fine. That's what I
okay,
mean,
that's
nothing
good, that's
happened.
good.
But I'm just saying, though, in that moment, like,
Hmm.
stuff can go sideways, stuff can go stupid.
Yeah,
And that was stupid on me for jumping
yeah,
the gun, which I didn't do anything. Like I said, he was fine. Like he didn't like squeal or anything. Nothing happened. It's just the point that that's how thin that line was for me. And it shouldn't
yeah.
have been. It shouldn't have been that thin. So
Well,
I
not
definitely try
not
to
only
watch
that,
myself.
not only that, but you might be going on something that was a rumor or someone said they said and they didn't say it, and all the next thing you
Yeah.
know, you're in a fight with someone and you don't even know what actually happened, you know. So yeah, I've always been an advocate. Maybe even, I mean, as a hockey player, it was different when I had the helmet on. You know what I mean? It was different
Yeah.
when I'm on the ice, dude. You fucking crossed me the
I
wrong
got
way.
jumped by some
It's got
hockey players one time on the ice.
oh no,
Yeah.
oh
Yeah.
no.
Yeah, I got my ass
But
kicked on the ice.
especially
Lonely,
it's
hold on one
oh
second.
oh
10
yeah,
bones. Always stand for the courage fight.
for
I
the
say
courage
I am
fight.
going out for the fight. If I'm challenged, if the giant follow, I'll get a power boost. 5'6" and still standing. Thank you, Lonely Stacker. I do
Yeah.
appreciate it, man. Thank you for the 10 bones. Shout out to the Bang Gang Squad. I seen somebody asked me, I am stuck at the $60 budget knife area. What's a good entry knife to a more expensive range? Thanks for the wonderful daily content. I would say Hogue. Hogue, you're not gonna spend that much. You can get 20 CV G10, great locking systems. It's USA made. You can go with the Hogue Ritter, the Hogue Deca. The Hogue Deca is a great knife, and they're coming out with Magna Cut this year. Another one you could go with Benchmade. Benchmade's going to be a little bit pricier than Hogue. That's why I'm saying Hogue first. But yeah, I think Hogue is a great way to go.
Or
As-
Spyderco if you're into steels.
Spyderco
You
too. The
know.
Spyderco Manix.
Yeah.
I love the Manix. So,
Mannix,
and yeah,
Mannix, pair of three if you're into a different style. If you like the
mhm.
compression lock.
And those
Um.
knives, the one good thing about them is that you can actually make them yours. Meaning the
Yeah.
Spydercos, you can buy a knife and then you can start upgrading it. You can buy clips, hardware, scales. You can change everything
Yeah.
about it. So, and you're getting good steel. So,
Yeah,
they do a good
I
heat
like the
treat,
steels options. If you're into steels and you want to try something different, you know, Spyderco can definitely give you that.
and they
Um,
do a good job with the heat treats too.
yeah.
I gotta
If you're
give Spyderco credit for that.
yeah, absolutely. They do a great job with their heat treats, even though they have so many different steels. They're definitely going to be on a better level as far as heat treat concerned than Benchmade. Um, if you're worried about a warranty, I would suggest Benchmade over Spyderco because
Yeah,
Benchmade's warranty is definitely going to be better.
but you're most
But
likely gonna have to use it on Benchmade over Spyderco.
100%, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, definitely,
I'm not saying nothing bad about Benchmade, but and same thing though, you can get parts for them very easily. So
yeah,
like maybe possibly the things you might have a problem with, you can fix yourself without sending them in. So that's
yeah,
the one beautiful thing about some of the USA made knives is that there are so many little companies that are also USA making parts.
yeah, yep.
Or maybe not,
That's
but
very true.
still.
Yeah, no, that's very true. The
Yeah, they're using S45 now on the PM2.
oh yeah, yeah. I
Mhm.
heard about that. So I have not tried S45 yet, but the S45 I am going to try when I do get it is going to be CRK. It's got to be.
Yeah.
That's what I want. I've always wanted a. To be honest, I've always wanted the burl. The what is that?
Oh,
I
the
always
wood? That's what I got. That's what I got.
yeah.
But it's
The
not
so you
the S45, it's the S35. But yeah.
oh there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's great. I love it, man. I love
Yeah,
this
that's
knife.
actually the one I wanted. So I wanted
So smooth.
the
So
31.
smooth.
I wanted the 21 because I like the inlays better than the 31.
Hmm.
To be honest, because that's the one I wanted. Was what you got in your hand right there.
I replaced my thumb stud because I hate their thumb studs, but man, these
Oh
aftermarket
yeah,
ones from Etsy, such a good deal. They're titanium and
it
they
looks like a
change.
Benchmade.
It's just bigger. It's thicker and bigger.
Okay.
Like the point where you put your finger is so much more comfortable. It
Hmm.
changes the knife for you, hands down. I love this knife and the
What's
thumb
the
stud.
back side? What's the back side instead of the pressed fitting? What's the back side of it? Of the
Oh,
clip?
so
I mean, of the thumb stud. Oh, so it's a
no,
screw now.
nothing. Yeah, it's just a press fit. And what was that?
Okay,
Sorry. The press fit was switched out for a screw. Sorry.
for a screw.
Yeah.
Did you pop it out yourself?
Yep.
The press
I
fit?
used a vise, a bit So like a T8 or something, and then
Yeah.
I used a socket to go over the
Okay.
stud. So put
Yeah.
the socket over the stud and then use the bit on the other side, and I just cranked a clamp,
That's
popped it right
that's
up.
very smart of you. That sounds like a
Mhm.
good way to do it.
Yeah, it worked great. Like you just
Yeah.
don't be scared because it's gonna make some noise. You know,
Yeah, it's gonna
you'll hear it
pop.
pop, pop,
Yeah, it's
pop.
gonna
Yeah,
pop. Yeah.
yeah.
That's and you know,
I
I
didn't
think
know
that's a lot
that.
of people are scared.
So if you get a
They'll do a
reblade, they'll do it
reblade.
in the F45. There you go.
Oh.
What is it? I think
And
$150 for the
150
reblade?
bucks I think is what it
Yeah,
used to be. Yeah.
yeah.
That's awesome. I would actually
That's
do
not bad.
that. I would
Yeah,
actually
no,
do
that's
that.
not too bad to do that.
Yeah.
Like Benchmade, the cool thing, like depending on the steel, they'll do a reblade too. Like Protec, same thing. If you
Yeah.
sharpened it to death or used it to death, you can send it back in like $60. They'll replace it. They'll replace the blade.
Yeah. I have three different Benchmates that I've had rebladed. Uh, if anyone
Yes,
remembers, I had the
sir.
battle with my I had a mini Griptilian, the 20 CV, and the HRC came up super low, and they
Mhm.
rebladed it because it had a
Nice.
super low HRC. And then this 940, this is actually one of probably my second knife I got. Like a once I stepped into the next realm of knives. Once I got my
Yeah.
Spyderco, and then this.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, and then this used to have a coated blade, and I hated the coated blade. So I ended up getting a new blade for this one.
How much did they charge you
And
for that one? Do you remember?
oh man, that was so long ago.
They told me for S90V it would be, I think, 40 or $60, one of the two. But normal blades, I
Okay.
think, are 20 or 25 for like the
Yeah, it
S30V.
was. Yeah, I think this one was about 25 if I remember
Yeah.
correctly.
Mhm.
Yeah, this is the S30. And yeah, I mean, it's kind of nice. It's kind of a nice thing they do. I That's why I would see if you're into that sort of thing, I would suggest it over Spyderco because I can know that that would be a lot more interesting.
They're gonna do the same thing, Knife Electric. I'm sure. I don't know how they do it. I mean,
Oh
it's just a
man.
clamp. You're just cranking a clamp so it goes slow because that's the point. You want it to go slow.
Yeah,
And you
you
just want to
want
make
to
sure
try and
whatever you
hammer
use
it.
is straight. Yeah. You just want to make
Yeah,
sure whatever you're using is straight. If it's flat and straight, it has no choice but to push the thing out. So I've
yeah,
never scratched a blade or anything. I've done a few of them.
yeah.
But
I mean, as long as you're careful, I think you can accomplish that pretty easily.
yeah. But after it pops, what I always do is I always make sure there's something there because once it
Yeah,
pops through, it falls.
it
So just make
falls
sure there's
out.
some, yeah, just have something there to catch it.
Yeah. Do you
Pretty
have a
easy.
video about that? Because maybe you should do a
I
video.
did do a video. I don't know if I actually filmed that part, but I definitely have like a video where you can see me doing it or setting up or something. I'm not sure if I recorded it or not, but I try to do that though. Like when I do mods or anything like that, I do little clips and I put them in the video. So, and that's one thing people don't realize because they'll watch some of like the quicker videos I do, but they don't realize in the full reviews in many cases, not all, but many cases, I'm teaching stuff in there that's going to be universal. It's not just going to
Hmm.
have to do with that specific knife. Like, say, if it's, fixing lock bar access or fixing a
Yeah,
detent or, whatever. And I teach it in that video. So it's not that I have a specific video on that subject, it's in
yeah.
a video that I did it on that specific knife. So if you watch them, then you'll learn something for other knives. So
Okay. Yeah, yeah.
I
That's a
tried to
good way
do
to
that
go
too.
about it.
Well, I wanted people to watch the reviews that didn't even give a fuck about the knife, just because they'll
Right.
learn something.
Yeah, that makes sense. It'll
Mm.
also influence people to watch your videos all the way through, which we both know is
Yeah,
not the case in a lot of
not happening,
situations.
right, alright.
Yeah,
You'll put so much time and effort, and then you like, in, like, a 30-minute video, and you see most
yeah,
people watch 4 minutes.
yeah, yeah.
It's like,
Well,
"Ah."
for anyone that knows my channel, you know that I'm infamous for having way too long of videos. So, at a 40-minute video and someone watches 6 minutes of it, it's pretty pretty devastating.
But see, that
But
and for people that don't like long videos, it's definitely tough, but I think a lot of people like the details, the information, the
right.
the not where you're just saying something simple like, "Oh, it's comfortable." Okay,
Yeah.
why is it comfortable? Where is it comfortable?
Right.
Where is it uncomfortable? What are the things about that that make it, you know what I mean? Like going into those details can mean something because then you can use that across the board when you look at other knives. You
Right.
know, like, "Oh,
Well,
that was comfortable because of this." Well, this knife that I'm looking at has that too. So maybe
yeah.
it's comfortable too.
Well, and as we know, like, let me put it this way: if you can watch a
Thanks,
video
5
about a
star.
knife,
Thank you, brother.
yeah,
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 check out the
awesome.
playlist, man. I got a lot of playlists, all kinds of videos, and go check out Kenny's channel too. But yeah, I have a playlist with all kinds of content. Some of them are mixed matched, but you'll see if you check them out. And yeah, definitely go and follow Kenny's channel too, because he's gonna be making a comeback. Right, Kenny? Right, Kenny?
Yeah, dude. Yeah. Um, I think there's a lot of, I mean, especially because when I started making videos, most of the knife channels were literally making like, yes, I did have dreads, and it's definitely a lot different. It's I think when I started making videos, most of the channels were making 5 10 minute videos, maybe 20 at the most. And they're if you watch different videos about that knife, it almost sounded like you were watching the same video because they're just regurgitating the same stuff. It's like
Yes,
there's no
yes.
depth to there was no
I know what
depth.
you mean. Yeah.
There wasn't
The same
like
specs that you can read.
the same specs. And that's where I stopped and I said, like, I'm not going to regurgitate specs that they can
Nope.
read on the
You don't get
internet. You know
specs
what
on
I'm
my
saying?
shit.
Yeah.
The only time
So,
you'll get specs, I'll put a picture up of the specs really quick, and they're
yeah,
fast. So
that's
pause
what
it
I
if you
did.
wanna see it,
Yeah, that's what
because
I
I
did.
just
I
don't,
throw it up there.
to me, like, and this is just for me because I try to make content that I would like, and I don't give a shit about specs. I really don't.
Yeah.
There's like a couple things. What steel is it? What's the materials? Right? And then I
Yeah.
might care about the blade stock thickness, but I can
Yeah.
look that up myself. I don't
Yeah.
need to watch your video for that. I can look up the knife and see that. So,
Yeah, and I think that's where I tried to say, like, okay, I would jump through specs and then I would do knife comparisons. I think that's important, like when you can actually, and that's why I would do my knife comparisons. I'd say, okay, well, if you have a pair of three, like, or let's say you have a Sleesh buoy or you have this, you can actually look at it comparatively and see what
mhm,
the size is going to be, compare it to that knife that you might have. But it's still hard to grasp, like you said. You see pictures of the Sleesh buoy, you think it's much bigger. And that's where I would try and do something like, okay, this is my hand size. My hand is 4.5 inches across.
mhm,
You can see I do have thicker fingers. My from this point to this point is 6.5 inches. You can see where my middle finger touches. Those are the types of things that I would say could be valuable. Now I see Anthony Ramirez is talking about pricing in a video. Now I don't find that I would say the price in the video, only because, for one, a video can be timeless if you don't mention something like price, because prices change over time, right?
yep, yep.
You can
I usually put a
easily
picture up.
research.
That's what I do. I try to put a picture up because I also know that to some people, none of the other information matters, without the price, because they don't want to be all balled up wanting it and then find out,
Yeah,
man, I can't afford that. So I do throw up a
yeah,
picture, but
that's a
I
good idea.
almost never say it. Most
Right.
likely I'll throw up a picture, but just because, like I said, I just don't want to say specs. I want to get into the details about using it,
Yeah.
what it's like in hand, cutting, geometry, sharpening, how the steel felt, how the action is, lockup, things like that.
Right.
The things
Yeah,
you can't
absolutely.
read, the things you can't read,
Yeah.
you
And
know?
and also I think it all comes down to your example. You know what I mean? Like a lot of times it's just yeah, sausage fingers. I got kind of sausage fingers for sure. I got thick hands. Um but it's interesting because I like
There you
to,
go.
like, for instance, I've had people that said that your videos are too long, like, oh, I can't watch this, it's too long. I'm like, okay, that's great. I mean, go watch Nick Shabazz. You know what I mean? There's
Right.
plenty of there's plenty of channels out there that are going to give you a 5-10 minute review,
Mhm.
regurgitate the same shit over and
Yeah.
over. Go
I do
watch
my
their
5
videos.
fasts for those people. I do
Yeah,
5
and you have
fasts where I literally do 2 minutes apiece on each knife, and I do 5 knives really fast, and I do that for those people. And basically what it
right,
is, it's so that if you see the knife and you say, "I like that," now you can go find a long review or not,
right,
right? It gives you the
yeah.
option to figure it out, but my full reviews are almost always 20 minutes.
Well, that's why I was trying to make near the end of my, when I was making videos regularly. That's why I had my first impressions video, because my first impressions videos were essentially like a 10 to 15 minute video that was just my quick initial impressions of the knife, which was pretty much what a lot of those videos were anyways, were just first
Mhm.
impression videos, because they don't really use the knives. You know what I mean? They're just like flipping knives over, essentially. I mean, I remember seeing something. I don't want to name any names, but he was saying like, "Oh, I got this knife today," and he's doing a full review of the knife, and I'm like, how, how can you, how
Yeah.
can you call that a full review if you just got the
Yeah.
knife today?
Yeah.
That's absurd. That's
Yep.
absurd.
I agree.
Uh, so in
I
my
find it
opinion, I
tough to do that too, man. Like sometimes I'll get a knife and like I'm being pushed to kind of hurry, and I find it tough, man. Like I sometimes
yeah,
don't even want to do it. Sometimes I've done it where I've just sent the knife back and didn't do it, and then I've also done it where I've done just an overview. Like, listen, guys, sorry, this isn't a full review. Just giving you what
yeah,
I can. This is all I can give you. I didn't
yeah,
sharpen it. I didn't barely test it.
right,
I didn't barely carry it. Right. I did, for what I
right,
did carry it. I wasn't able to test it like I want to, right? Like,
yeah,
I recently did where the clip was so bad I couldn't carry it. So
right,
I all the use I had to do wasn't as much as I would have done if I could have brought it to work and things like that.
yeah.
So, you know,
And you couldn't give necessarily a pocket review of like, hey, this is how it carries, this is how it.
right.
Um, now, I did for a while there. I was part of the Apex pass around group. If you remember what that was all about, it's you know I was getting knives that I couldn't use as properly as I would have wanted to use it, because it was part of an Apex pass around group, and you can't sharpen it, and it had to keep the factory edge, and
Yeah. I actually refused that because they invited me and I
uh
said
huh.
no to it for some of those reasons.
Yeah, so I didn't really enjoy it all that much necessarily. I liked that I could try knives that I would have never bought, so I thought it was
Mhm.
kind of cool. But at the same time, when
There's a
I
lot of
did those
benefits to it
reviews,
for sure.
yeah,
For
yeah,
channels that need the knives, definitely. It's definitely benefits to it. I just personally I'll be honest, and this is me, and I'm not being a dick when I say this, guys, but there was another reason why was and you can call it greedy, call it whatever you want, but I knew if I said yes to that, I gave the companies that would have sent me the knife no reason to send me the knife.
oh,
And I
interesting,
wanted the companies, and it actually worked in my benefit to say no, because then the companies contacted me individually and said, "Hey, can we send you this knife?" And then I got to keep it. I could give it away. I could sell it. I could actually test it, right?
yeah,
Instead of having it for a few days and hurrying up and getting it out the door. And then the company has no reason to work with me.
yeah. I was
So,
never big enough to make that kind of choice, but yeah, I didn't. I think there's an element of being someone that's kind of brutal. I don't know if I would have ever gotten to the point where people wanted to send me their shit,
thank
because
you, God.
uh,
You
I
were
can be
getting
kind
some
of
stuff
brutal.
in, no?
I'm sorry?
I said you were getting stuff in. No? Yeah.
No,
You
no,
never got nothing sent in?
not from a company. And
I
I
thought you meant people. I thought you meant people.
no,
Sorry.
people are awesome, dude.
Yeah.
People, you guys, that is one thing I'll say to everyone watching this right now is subs. You guys are awesome, man. This knife community is so awesome, man.
Yeah.
I had one subscriber who's was with me from almost the very beginning, and he sent me a freaking, I mean, a $2,000 custom knife, man, to
Yeah.
just try and use and sharpen. And I'm like, you're out of your mind. Like, are you kidding me? Like,
Yeah.
I could
Dude,
never. express how thankful I am to my
Yeah.
subs.
And you saying
It's
that,
just
I gotta
amazing
say that
people.
too. I gotta join you on this one because my followers, subscribers, friends, my friends have
Yeah,
done
friends for sure.
so much for me in this channel. Like I can't even express how much. Like I could go into right now the thousands and thousands of dollars they've donated and gave me and surprised me with, and it's just it's endless, and I can't thank you guys enough. You guys have definitely kept this channel afloat and made it what it is. All right, like that.
Yeah,
I mean, that's why we're at where we're at is because of all the support. Like it's this community is so
100%.
amazing. Yeah.
100%. I would have never kept making videos if it wasn't for those guys. Like,
Right.
I mean, I have, 100 plus. I don't even know how many videos I've made on my channel, but I wouldn't have even made 2 videos if it wasn't for the guys that were like, you need to make videos. You know what I mean? It was their support and their, just I just would have never kept going if it wasn't for those guys, and especially like I don't think people realize what YouTube comments, how if you actually try to respond and try to keep up with all your YouTube comments, how you can actually
Yeah.
go insane. Like
Yeah. Mhm. I
the
did.
the yeah. Oh,
I
I
did.
know, I know. The the the
You feel
people out there.
bad. You feel bad they're willing to make a comment, and then it's like, dude, I hate the thought that somebody asked me a question and I wasn't able to answer it. It drives me
I
nuts.
dude,
It keeps me
I
up at night.
Yeah,
It does.
honestly, I still get comments. I haven't been answering my comments lately, and the reason is because um, if I can't answer fully and I can't like really put all the time in to answering a comment, I don't feel like I should. You know what I mean? And then you get all these comments and you get so backed up that you're like, oh, I got to go back and answer that comment. I kind of want to make a video just saying this is answering all the comments that I've missed, because I'm such an elaborate type of person. I can't just answer like stupid, like simple, like no or yes or like I feel like I have to go into it. And oh man, I'm so backlogged at this point. And then you get these negative people, these keyboard cowboys that just want to tear you down.
Can a
And
moderator take care of this, please? Can one of you guys help
yes,
him out with a
yeah.
link, please? Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, yeah.
But no, the yeah,
Um,
the keyboard warriors, man, for sure.
it's
You're
tough,
you're gonna
man. And
have them. I don't think it's bad though to have some discourse. I don't care if
no,
somebody disagrees with me. That's fine.
no,
But
no, I don't
sometimes they
either.
will attack your character. They'll attack your hands for fucking working construction. They'll fucking I get so much of
Yeah,
that.
but dude, that's what I
I
mean.
went and
Like
got a
it's
pedicure because of them. I went and got a pedicure.
oh Jesus,
Motherfuckers.
dude.
I went I did too. Yesterday or
Oh
two
my
days
gosh,
ago.
that's hilarious, Jared.
Dude, I
So
got probably 10,000 comments, and on the 10,000th one, I said, "All right, you motherfuckers, I'm going. I'm
I'm getting my
going.
nails fixed.
Yeah, I'm
Oh,
getting my
dude,
fucking shit fixed."
I'm a carpenter, man. My hands are
Dude, me too,
destroyed.
my whole
Like,
life, my whole life.
yeah,
Like, dude, there's just nothing I could do, and that's why I try to
yeah,
explain to him, like, and I don't mean this in like no like offensive way at all, but like I've left a lot of them the same comment because like they'll be like, "Oh, your hands nasty," or like they'll say like something crazy, right? And I'll just be like, "Yeah, these are the same hands that built society around you, so you could be so luxurious in your seat right now to
with
fucking
your
watch a
pedicure,
video." Yeah,
with your
and
manicure.
comment on a video about somebody who fucking made because think about it, it's the hardworking men, and women that fucking have, built mostly men, built buildings and the furniture and the this and the that all around you so you could drive down the street and do all this, but that was all at the detriment of hands, right?
Yeah,
Like, I can't tell you
yeah,
how many nails I've lost, I mean, when I first started the channel, look at my hands, dude. I had both nails ripped off, like completely ripped off. Well, I mean, they were
yeah,
falling off, but still, like, that's construction, right? That's
yeah, dude.
construction,
I almost lost 3 of my fingers, man. I mean,
right? Right. My grandpa
yeah,
did. My grandpa used to walk around like this and act like he was picking his nose.
yeah, yeah. Gotta
I
love
mean,
it.
it is what it is. Lonely. Thank you for the 2 bones. Men
Yeah.
need to embrace health in all forms. I do. And listen, I wasn't like, I'm not complaining. Like, I know I need to take care of my hands. Trust me. I know I do. I know how bad they look. There's when they leave the comment, I already know. I already know.
I
And
know.
that's why
Like they're acting
I
like you
made
don't watch. You had to
right.
edit that video. You had to edit that video. You literally stared at your
Exactly.
ugly hands the whole time.
Exactly. So but I did
Uh,
go and get a pedicure. Didn't help too much, but I'll continue to go, especially now that I'm not working at that job. I'll continue to keep dealing with them, and hopefully they'll just get better and better.
yeah.
Stars of
I
23 is in the house.
Hey,
That's my
Stessa,
Kentucky
what's
Fried
up?
Chicken. The comments, man, they'll destroy you, bro. That's why
Kentucky
it's like you
Fried Chicken.
can't put too much weight
Why?
into them.
Dude, they need to like look back, Nick. They just don't understand, man. Like
No.
if and that's the other thing. If they had any sense, they would try and think twice about commenting on your hands, Nick.
Yes.
Like
Yes.
Jesus Christ, man.
Right.
Like
Do you have a soul? Do you
you
fucking have
have
a soul?
dude,
Right?
but honestly, that's why YouTube. I honestly got to the point. I had someone tell me, don't look at your comments. Just don't look at your comments
Yeah.
because it's like
Mhm.
at a certain point, it's like you work so hard on something, and then someone just destroys your esteem, and it's like
Or
I
twist your
I just don't.
word.
Yeah, twist your words. I mean, they make you feel horrible, and it's just
Yeah.
like I mean, look, I like people that actually make constructive criticism.
Yes.
Constructive
Yes.
criticism is an amazing thing that makes your channel
I
better.
thank them. I thank them
Yeah,
for it.
I thank people
Yep.
that make constructive criticism.
Yeah.
But there's a
Even if
difference
even if
between
it's something that is negative, like,
yeah,
thank you for letting me
yeah,
know that or helping me or telling me I messed up on
right.
this or said this wrong. That's
Yeah.
fine, right?
Yeah, I agree. I agree. But at the same time, if they're just trying to like, oh, he's got to say this like a million times. I'm like, yeah, dude, I know. I edited the video. I know I said dude like 40 times in this video. I
Yeah,
understand.
I edited this motherfucker, yeah.
Dude,
I don't
I mean,
realize.
I get it. I get it. And I've sat there and watched people's videos where they said this so many times I couldn't watch it anymore. I get it. I get it. It's just unimaginable that I mean people just sit there and they're literally sitting there telling you how to make a video, but they've never made a video in their life. So honestly, at a certain point, you just got to let it go and just understand that people are
Yeah,
always going to criticize what they can't do themselves, or even whatever it may be. Um, but
for sure.
it's very very hard. I don't think people realize how hard it is sometimes to have a YouTube channel.
Right. And it
Um,
does take a certain type of mindset to
yeah, when
know, like,
some people are
where
just
where
trying to be mean.
where your battles are, right? There's
Yeah,
you don't wanna die on these hills, so a lot of times,
yeah,
like dude just said a minute ago, you have to imagine it that, like, where they're at, what they're doing, and the type of
yeah,
person they are. They must feel so low about themselves to say that, and I try to think that in my head, like, I start feeling bad for the guy after a minute,
yeah,
like,
yeah,
like, he must be in a place that to where he has to insult somebody like that, that he's really talking to himself to some
yeah,
extent.
for
So, it's
sure,
like
for sure.
so
I had a guy the other day, and it was actually kind of funny. I found it comical because, as you well know, most of my videos is people that I mean, like I use the shit out of my knives. They all get used, and I don't clean them every time I put them away in my case. I don't clean my knives every time I use it. So my knives will have tape residue and shit all over them, and
yep,
and I'm
mhm,
and I'm doing a review, and I usually try to clean the knife I'm actually reviewing, but when I'm
mhm,
doing size comparisons, I might have a knife that has schmutz all over it. Like it's gonna
right,
happen.
yep,
And some guys like, oh, I love your review, but can you please clean your knives? I'm like, bro, you must be OCD, man. Like,
yeah. And,
it
there
bothers
are
me.
some people that are like that, man, like, they're just
Yeah,
like, I've gotten so many of those, this was the most hilarious one, was I had a mat, my mat was so cut up from my blades hitting the mat that it looked like
yeah.
there was a bunch of little scratches, and I got multiple comments like, "I keep trying to clean the screen on my phone," because they think their screen's dirty, but it's really just my mat. I had to
Oh
change it.
man. Oh
We're talking
jeez.
about the comments that attack your character and stuff. I remember in the past when I was super overweight doing videos, I was attacked. When I think back now, or I laugh now. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, that's all you can do, is kind of laugh about it. And that's why I like talking to Kenny about the stuff because it's like we can sit here and goof off about it and talk about it, and it is kind of funny. And you just got to realize, man, those some of those people, they're literally I don't think they could leave a good comment. You know what I mean?
No.
They are
Yeah.
definitely going into every single video they watch and leaving the shittiest comment on purpose.
Well,
So,
that was the
whatever.
funny part too. Is then you get in a group of people that are like us that are talking in a group, and we're just like, oh, did you hear so and so's comment? Because they do it on all of our videos. They literally go from your video to
Right.
my video to Steve's video to
So
to
true.
Lindy's video. It's
Yeah.
just it's really what's going on.
For sure.
Comment videos.
Yeah, people have a tendency, especially when commenting on videos, to forget that the content creator is just a normal person, just a regular person
Yeah.
making videos for fun, right? For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they don't realize like that, like say with my hands, right? Like they don't put into consideration like why, right? Like
Yeah.
I'm obviously not a hand model, right? I'm obvious, and then they
Yeah.
see the scars and shit, right? And they always
Right.
chalk it up to knives, which yeah, I got some scars from knives, but of course, right? One
Yeah.
guy said to me earlier, he goes, I don't know if I should trust your opinion on a knife with all those cuts. I said, or should you trust my opinion on knives? I said,
Yeah.
would you trust a guy with modeling hands about
Right.
knives? Think
Right.
about it. You know, that's
Yeah.
the
That's
comment I
true.
love back.
Yeah, that's very true, man. That's very true. It's
You-
like, um,
There you
if
guys go. There's the link to Kenny's channel. Definitely go and follow
oh,
his channel.
thank you, Breeze. Thanks, buddy. Yeah, I appreciate all of you guys, man. Honestly, even if you're not sub to my channel, um, this knife community is just it's a really good thing, man. It
It
can
saves lives.
be.
I
I'm
think it
sorry.
saves lives. I think it saves
Yeah.
lives in a lot of ways. It really does. I can't tell you how many people I've heard, tell me like how much this community has saved them and took them out of bad places. And
Well, look at
I
Nick. We could talk
literally,
about Nick. Like if we
right?
just talk about
Yes,
Nick. I mean, look at
yes,
Nick.
yep, for sure,
Like anyone who wants to talk
100%.
shit about Nick, they can come see me in California, guys.
Right,
I'll
right. You
fucking
see, you're gonna have
I'm
a
gonna
massive community behind
oh
fucking
dude,
Nick.
you're gonna have a lot of guys that are ready
Yeah,
to pull a Jared on your ass and kick you in the
right,
forehead while you're
for sure.
curled up in the fetal position.
Absolutely, absolutely. And,
Yeah.
even, like, with me, like, when I started the community, I had just gotten over drug addiction, dude, and, like, I was a fucking
Yeah.
criminal, like, I was doing some bad shit, like, I was on the verge of going to prison, and, I
Wow.
found the community, and it, like, it saved me for sure. Same thing with so many other people. I have so many people that have come to me and told me, like, once they found the community, it's like you find because in all reality, like when you're in a bad place, and everybody's gonna be in a bad place, every
Yeah, at
fucking
some
person
point.
will wind up
Yeah.
right. It's good for you to find a community, right? That's what you
Yeah.
kinda need, and I think that that's what we're kinda missing a lot in our, country and
In our
places
world, yeah.
in our world, right, is
Yeah.
communities, and this is such a tight-knit community. Like, Jay said just a minute ago, "You come for the knives, but you stay for the people."
Yeah. 100%. 100%. Uh
Mhm.
I mean, to be honest, like, with someone like me who has so many different hobbies. I mean, I could have a surfboard channel, I could have a motorcycle
Right,
channel,
right.
I could start
Yep,
all these different channels. But
yep.
I realized that the knife community is a really special place. I mean, you don't get
Yes.
the kind of loyalty and the kind of people that you get in the knife community in very many
No,
communities.
no.
Dude, I had
Not
guys
at
on my
all.
channel. I had guys on my channel when I was going through my divorce. They were like, "Dude, you could come stay with me." I'm like, "What, bro?
Yeah,
You don't even really
yeah,
like." I mean, guys who watch my channel know I'm pretty much wear my heart on my sleeve, so you do know me in a sense, but you don't know me. You know what I mean?
right,
Like, and these guys would give me the shirt off their back in a
yep,
heartbeat, man.
yep.
There's not
And
many
I've done
communities.
right, and I've tried to do that for people too, where, like,
Yeah,
I've people are in tough times are like, "Hey, can you donate to this or can you help with this?" And it's like,
yeah,
"Sure fucking thing." This guy right
yeah,
here donated this shirt to
yeah.
me.
Surefire.
Fucking he's got a bed and breakfast in Colorado. He said, "If I ever come to Colorado, I got a, room and board to stay." That's amazing,
Yeah, that's
to have that.
it's just I don't think people realize how close how this community really is, man. It's an amazing place. I've wanted to go to Blade show since I started my channel, and I don't know if this year if I can make it, but I really want to go because I just want to meet all these guys. I want to meet
Yeah,
everybody. I feel closer to some of these people than people I grew up with sometimes. You know what I mean?
same,
It's pretty
same.
wild.
Yes,
Like
I
guys
agree.
like Steve, like Steve,
Mhm.
if there's anything like Steve helped me through
He's
my
about to get married.
divorce. Dude, yeah, I'm so stoked for him, man. But
Yeah,
Steve
good
actually
for
helped
him,
me
man.
in one of my lowest times in my life. That guy like gave me what I needed to kind of get through it, and I'll be ever indebted to him. He really did help me.
Mhm.
He really did help me, and a lot of these guys, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
And like you said, like sending me knives to try because they wanted me to try it. I'm like, dude, you just
right. Just for your
the
opinion. It's amazing.
yeah. It's been such a great ride since I started my channel. And I mean, right now it's like I definitely there's part of me that just wants to start making videos again. I have videos that are sitting there. Balls. We got a balls.
Sharp thought. We definitely
Um,
have the best group, so many awesome people, absolutely.
yeah.
And if you can make it, man, that would be awesome if you can make it. I know it's tough, man. This is the first one I've ever been to that I'm going. So I know how tough it can be, to make the time, the money, and all of that. But if it's possible,
Yeah.
it would be awesome if you could make it.
Yeah, I definitely want to. It's still in June, right? It's June. What is it this year?
Yeah, June 2nd through the 6th or something like that.
Okay.
Something like that. Right around those days. I think I'm flying out on the 1st or the 2nd, one of the 2. Then I'll be back on the 7th, I think. So,
Okay. Yeah, I do have a few days left in vacation. Maybe I'll try and swing it. But yeah, it's one of those things too. Like, I mean, like I said with my certain situation where I'm gonna have to attribute to Super Steel Steve. Thank you, bud. That's always a
that's
good one.
exactly how it feels too. Like, you don't even have to be part of the community for very long to feel like you've been a part of it the whole time.
Yeah,
Like, they
yeah, it really
definitely make
is.
you
It's
feel
really
welcome.
cool.
And I always say
Yeah,
that to some people, like, don't be afraid to leave a comment or a question.
yeah.
None of these people are going to judge you on you not having the knowledge that they have. They will help you.
They
Right.
might razz
Like,
you a bit, but
well, if you leave, like,
it's
sometimes
all in
people leave
fun.
like a question like that they know, like, well, they don't know, but they think is a good answer. And then they might, get them a little bit like about a
Yeah,
Gerber or
yeah,
something like that. But for the most part, most people will go out of their way and try to teach you and help you,
yeah.
if you have a
Well,
question or something,
yeah, and
which is awesome.
even if I don't answer your comment, one of my subs might answer
That's what I
your
mean.
comment
Yep.
for me. Yeah,
Yep. Yep.
yeah.
That's so
We
awesome.
do have a great community, and um, it's just like one of those things. Like even with someone like Nick, like I never met Nick. I haven't met any of these guys in person, which is pretty crazy. Like, I feel like I've known Steve forever. I feel like I've known, Gerald and
Yeah.
Clint and all these guys. I feel like I've known them forever, and I've
Yes.
never even met them in person.
I know what you mean. I'm meeting
You
everybody for
know?
the first time this year. I mean, I've
Yeah,
met a couple people because they've came through this area and we've met up, but for the most part, I haven't met anybody. So it's gonna be
yeah.
awesome in Atlanta getting to meet everybody all at once and, you know, do whatever, go drinking and hang out. We got a house, right, that 8 of us are staying at. So,
Oh
um,
wow, that's
yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, it's gonna be
Yeah,
badass. So it's gonna be fucking great. I know it's past
two and a
10
half
right now.
hours plus.
So
Yeah.
yeah. So we'll close this up in 2 minutes, guys. Definitely go and follow his channel. I see we have Addicted to Knives been a member for 2 months. Don't forget tomorrow I'm doing the live for the members. It might be open to the public, but only the members will be able to comment, and it'll be for sharpening. Also, I just bought a sharpening system that I'm going to test and then give away to one of the members. Um, we have the patron giveaway. Listen, guys, I should have already like pulled or I already know what I'm giving to the patron members this month. I should have already done the video because I didn't know the channel was gonna grow this fast. Like, we were supposed to do it like 50, 60,000, but I gained like 40, 50,000 subs in the past 3 weeks. That's fucking insane. So I didn't know that was gonna go that fast. We're gonna be doing the 80,000 subs. We're gonna be doing the Passing Metal Complex giveaway. Shout out to Metal Complex. Love the dude, but I am coming for him.
Dude, you
And
made more than 10,000. You made more than 10 times my subs in like a fraction of the time.
it took me a long time to get to 1,000 subs, though. Like
Yeah,
it
but
took
that's what
me a
I
minute.
mean, dude.
Yeah.
Dude, when I stopped making videos, you were probably at like 1,500 subs.
Once you get to a certain amount, the channel, like YouTube starts pushing you a little bit
Yeah,
harder.
yeah, yeah.
And
I
if you
get it.
do
I get it.
certain things, they'll push you even harder. If you know how to look at your analytics a little bit better and diagnose them a little better, they can tend to push you. And there's like steps to it. And if you do all the steps like kind of like in a row, you can kind of influence them to push it. And that's kind of like what I did. Um,
Yeah.
but to everybody who donated, thank you to everybody who donated to the channel tonight and all the members. Shout out to you guys for being part of the Bang Gang squad. Tomorrow we're going to be hanging out. And thank you for everybody that joined and is hanging out, talking with us all night. I've seen we've had over 100 people. We were at like 130 people at one point. You guys are all awesome. Thank you guys so much. Kenny, thank you for joining me tonight. We need to do this again. This would be awesome.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
um,
Anytime, Jared.
yeah, I'd love
Anytime,
to
man.
hear. Here's
Thank you so much
Kenny's
for
channel
having me.
again. Oh, dude, thank you for coming on. I want to do this again. I love doing this shit.
Yeah.
It's great
I had a
having a guest.
blast, man.
So
I had a
me
blast.
too. All right, guys. Peace out.